At La Pu's place, the buildings there were made out of bones. A dozen or so ghost clansmen could be seen moving around and refining some sort of special blood using odd-looking blood pools. La Pu himself was walking between the blood pools and scolding the ghost clansmen from time to time. His clothes were torn and shabby. When Qianlai showed himself to La Pu, the latter gave him an ugly but sincere smile that came from the bottom of his heart. "You finally came back. These ghost clansmen?" Qianlai asked curiously. "They're my apprentices." La Pu chuckled before waving away the young ghost clansmen. The dozen or so low-rank ghost clansmen all let out a sigh of relief after they were done bowing to Qianlai. Then they left the duo without a word. It was obvious that they were afraid of La Pu. They didn't want to be scolded by him if at all possible. This place used to be quite lively. After probing his surroundings with his soul consciousness, Qianlai soon discovered that La Pu and his ghost race apprentices were the only ones who had remained there. The Ling family, the Horned Devil race, the Dark Shadow race, and the rest of the Ghost Eye race had left with Ling Yushi. After Qianlai recollected his mind, he asked, "Why haven't you gone with them? The Abyss Devil energy at the bottom 8 levels of the Abyss is richer, and you'd be taken care of by a Devil Monarch of all people. It's a much better environment than here to evolve your bloodline, isn't it?" "You know I've never been really interested in evolving my bloodline," La Pu replied calmly. "My true interest lies in researching the bloodline of all races. And to this day I still believe that getting close to you is the best way for me to achieve my goals and ideals." He shook his head and added, "It's meaningless to me even if my bloodline did move up a rank after I went to 9 Hell's Purgatory." Surprised, Qianlai considered his words for a moment before replying, "I've encountered many powerful races during my trip to the Origin World, but I wasn't able to collect their blood for you. It's fine. I'm sure there will be plenty of chances to do so in the future," La Pu said carelessly. "Curtis said you were looking for me?" Qianlai asked. La Pu didn't answer Qianlai immediately. La Pu hesitated for a moment before his eyes suddenly gleamed with surprising brightness. "I've only heard of the God Race's Perfect Blood Project after I came to the Frost Desolation Abyss. If I'm not mistaken, the blood flowing inside your body. Is that so-called perfect blood? Am I right?" Qianlai's expression changed slightly. To this day, he hadn't told anyone that he possessed the perfect blood. Not even someone he trusted deeply like La Pu. Therefore, he had no idea how La Pu had figured out his secret. "You've provided me with a lot of strange data, the blood progenitor's knowledge of the blood, and even the research on the 100 races done by the God Race. Moreover, I've looked into your blood and the 8-eyed demon spirit's blood before. That's how I figured out the truth during my latest study." La Pu had guessed the truth from the changes in his eyes, so he started explaining himself without even waiting for Qianlai to answer him. "You know you can trust me completely. I'm even willing to give you control over my soul and become a soul servant of yours." La Pu looked completely sincere when he said this. In fact, there was a look of expectation in his eyes. The fact that Qianlai had a soul beast avatar was no secret to one of his closest friend, La Pu. Since a long time ago, La Pu was perfectly aware what it meant to become Qianlai's soul servant. "No, I trust you. I don't need to turn you into my soul servant." Qianlai shook his head. "You misunderstood my intentions. I'm asking you to convert me into a soul servant." La Pu laughed before explaining, "I don't want to waste time evolving my bloodline, and I know that I can obtain a steady supply of soul energy from you if I become your soul servant. Also, having a powerful soul means that I can work at my full strength for a much longer period of time." Qianlai looked at him in surprise. "Are you serious?" "Of course I'm serious. We don't have a soul contract yet, but you know that you are the most important person in my life, right? The knowledge regarding the bloodlines and the aid you gave to the people of Netherrealm have tied my fate to yours," La Pu said seriously. Qianlai looked at him deeply before replying, "I'll consider it. So, is that everything you wish to talk about?" "There's one more thing." La Pu inhaled deeply before saying seriously, "After a period of deep observation, I believe you may need to absorb as many powerful bloodlines as you can to evolve the perfect blood in your veins. For example, you should try absorbing the blood of powerful abyss devils, spirit race clansmen, ancient beast clansmen, or giant dragons. I believe that your blood has the ability to repair the flaws in itself by absorbing other bloodlines and quickening your growth. The more bloodlines you absorb, the more perfect it becomes. This is the only way your blood can truly become the perfect blood. This is the point of existence of your bloodline. A tremor ran through Qin Lai's body. Suddenly, he recalled the times his blood had ascended quickly to the next rank. They all seemed to fit La Pu's explanation. There was the time he absorbed Nivit's bloodline, the time he absorbed the Fire Spirit's bloodline, the time he absorbed the Eight-Eyed Demon Spirit's bloodline, and finally the time he absorbed the Atkins's bloodline. Just like La Pu said, the reason his bloodline broke through to the next rank again and again seemed to be closely tied to his absorption of bloodlines. By devouring a powerful being's bloodline, the perfect blood continuously repairs its flaws and becomes more perfect. Is this the true way to evolve and strengthen the perfect blood? He muttered to himself. Amen. Trust me. If you continue to absorb more and more powerful bloodlines, you will evolve faster and become more powerful. La Pu declared confidently and solemnly. This is the result of my research. I'm certain that my conclusion is correct. Qin Lai looked a little shaken. He subconsciously nodded in a daze. I didn't know it's like this. This is the main reason I requested your visit through Curtis. It is so that you won't lose your way when you cultivate your bloodline. La Pu's voice turned soft. I understand now. I truly understand now. Qin Lai muttered to himself. Still a little dazed, Qin Lai slowly walked away from La Pu's place and headed towards Sky Mender Palace, the Ji family and the Qin family's camp. He was absorbed in his thoughts and frowning deeply the whole way. Qin Lai, when did you arrive? Oh right, what are those Central World fellows planning to do with Baluo Realm? While he was passing through Baluo Realm's camp, the demon dragon Barrett saw him and cried out to him. Barrett had taken on a human form, and the blood on his body seemed to suggest that he had just fought a bloody battle. His fat trembled like sacks of water while he was talking. Beside him, the rank 9 vermilion bird Tong Yen was equally drenched in blood. Qin Lai finally broke out of his reverie as he shot a glance at Barrett and Tong Yen. Instead of answering, he asked a little hesitantly, Hey, can you guys give me a drop of your blood essence? Just one drop, Barrett asked curiously. Amen. Qin Lai nodded. Of course I can. Barrett grinned and said, We would never have come to the abyss if it wasn't for you. We would never have realized there are such terrifying opponents in the world. I may be constantly wounded from battles, but I can feel myself growing stronger as clear as day. In fact, I have a feeling that I'm going to reach rank 10 very soon. When that happens, I'll travel to Dark Shadow World and rescue my father from that place. I can replenish this amount of refined blood easily by eating half a rank 8 abyss devil, so it's really not a problem. At this point Barrett was done creating a drop of refined blood in his palm. He then tossed it casually to Qin Lai. The rank 9 vermilion bird Tong Yen didn't even bother to waste her breath. She immediately summoned a drop of refined blood and tossed it to Qin Lai without hesitation. Both the demon dragon Barrett and the vermilion bird Tong Yen threw a drop of their refined blood at Qin Lai. The two blood drops were about as big as a grape. They were shiny, and they dragged two tails of light behind them. The blood droplets stopped without warning just as they were about to hit Qin Lai. Then, they rotated where they hovered while emanating a rich scent of blood. Thank you. Qin Lai produced two exquisite-looking porcelain bottles and stored the refined blood inside after thanking them. Then, he put everything back into his spatial ring once more. Naturally, he wasn't going to absorb the refined blood right in front of Barrett and Tong Yen. Are you planning to give La Pu our refined blood or something? Barrett asked boisterously. The rank 9 vermilion bird thought the same as well. It was no secret that La Pu of the Ghost Eye race was researching everyone's bloodline. In fact, he and his apprentices were the only ones who insisted on staying behind even though most of the denizens of Nether Realm had gone with Ling Yushir into Nine Hells Purgatory. Both Barrett and Tong Yen knew that Qin Lai was the reason La Pu chose to stay behind. Qin Lai had walked over from La Pu's camp. Obviously, Lapu had to be the reason Qin Lai requested a drop of refined blood from them. "Amen, that's right." Qin Lai smiled before asking, "Say, have you seen Tengyuan and Banderas? They're still fighting the abyss devils of the Frost Desolation Abyss." Tong Yen replied, "Are you adapting well to the abyss?" Qin Lai asked curiously. "We're doing okay." Tong Yen took her time to consider her words seriously before replying. "Unlike the human race, we're not very reliant on world spirit energy. In fact, we can even increase our bloodline power by consuming abyss devil's flesh. The more refined flesh and blood energy the being we consume had, the more we benefit from it. Beings like us mostly rely on increasing our bloodline power to evolve to the next level," Barrett interjected. "The god race is the same. A long time ago, when the god race invaded spirit realm, they thought of our flesh as the best source of energy." "I see. They all eat flesh to increase their strength." Qin Lai muttered to himself. "That is how it has always been." Tong Yen shot him a confused look before saying, "Back when the dragon race and ancient beast race were strong, and the human race was weak, we used to consume humans as food as well. In fact, we used to slaughter tens of thousands of humans as sacrifices to our ancestors back then." Qin Lai's expression changed. "Times have changed though." Tong Yen continued, "Today, the human race is stronger than us. Not only have they dominated the central world, they're slowly but surely stretching their influence into the realms of other races. I heard that a lot of humans fed their descendants ancient beast race captives so that they would grow strong and powerful. In short, it's something any race would do to another race when they become the strong," Barrett concluded. Qin Lai shuddered as enlightenment hit him. Earlier, he felt a little queasy when Lapu had informed him of the way to improve the perfect blood. He had found it difficult to accept that he had to absorb bloodlines from powerful races to speed up his cultivation. After all, the method Lapu pointed out for him felt no different from the way Xianxia and his blood drinkers cultivated. Cultivation through the consumption of blood. In the past, he had found Xianxia's way of cultivations disagreeable. However, judging from both Lapu's research and his own understanding of his bloodline, Lapu's suggestion was without a doubt the best way to evolve his strength. He would have to prey on powerful bloodlines from other races just like Xianxia's blood drinkers if he wished to grow stronger. Thanks to Barrett and Tong Yan's explanations, the final doubt in his heart was completely dispelled. "I understand." He sucked in a deep breath before smiling at them. "You don't need to worry about Baluo realm. For now, it's impossible for the 6 great forces to invade it." "That is good news." Tong Yen nodded slowly. "We just need a little bit more time to ascend to rank 10. Once we succeed, we'll have nothing to fear from the 6 great forces." "I don't think it'll take much longer," Barrett said confidently. "I'm sure that you'll ascend to rank 10 in no time." After that, he told them he needed to meet with the Ji family and Skymender Palace urgently before excusing himself. Then he left Baluo Realm's camp. Swoosh! A flash of lightning later, Qin Lai suddenly appeared right between Ji Yao, Huanyang, Hunback Ba, and the rest of the Void Realm experts. Miao Yitzi had arrived before him and explained the situation at Kuanhuan Domain and the lizard race homeworld to Ji Yao and Huanyang. "What's the situation?" Qin Lai asked. "The 6 golden rank forces of the central world have summoned the chiefs of all races for a meeting. They wish to take out the Qin family because the Qin family is supposedly in cahoots with the god race. The chiefs of the dragon race, the ancient beast race, the Azura race, the sea race, and more have all agreed to attend the meeting." Ji Yao added seriously, "The Ji family and Skymender Palace have received the same invitation as well. They want us to visit 9th heaven on the day of the meeting." Qin Lai's expression changed drastically when he heard this. He yelled, "They're calling for every race to fight the Qin family? From what I gather, a lot of chiefs have agreed to attend the meeting in person." Ji Yao looked bitter when he said this. In fact, the dragon race, the Azura race, and the sea race have declared that they will join forces with the 6 great forces and eliminate the Qin family before the god race arrives. Hua Anyang added, "Although the rest of the chiefs haven't declared their stances yet, they all agreed to take this matter seriously and attend the meeting at 9th heaven." Qin Lai asked seriously, What does the Qin family have to say about this? The plump man gone vaping straightened his spine before announcing solemnly, "Your father has declared that he would visit ninth heaven in person on the day of the meeting. He'll be arriving in person?" Qin Lai looked shocked. Jiao shook his head and said, "I have no idea what he's thinking. The Genesis realm experts of the 6 great forces and the rank 10 bloodline experts of the Dragon race and Azura race will definitely try their absolute best to kill him. 300 years ago, his soul altar was destroyed precisely because he was vastly outnumbered. It doesn't look like he's learned his lesson even though 300 years have passed. My father will be visiting ninth heaven in person as well." Hua Anyang suddenly said, "I know. Even my old master has declared that he would be attending the meeting. I just think that it's an unwise decision. Ninth heaven is the 6 great forces domain after all." Jiao sighed. "Nothing stays the same forever," Hua Anyang said in a heavy voice. Baluo realm, 7 Spirit Island. A mountain of spirit materials was placed in a sealed secret room. Squeaks came from within the pies of spirit materials like mice sneaking food. Qin Lai sat within the pies of spirit materials and took out bottles from his spatial ring. Each bottle was only the size of his thumb and contained a drop of blood. Some drops of blood were dim while other were unusually bright and were different colors. "Half a month left," he murmured to himself. The ninth heaven would hold a conference discussing how to attack the Qin family in a fortnight. At the time, the top people of the 6 factions would all travel, and so would the experts of the powerful races of other realms. Even the Genesis realm-level experts of the Ji family and Skymender Palace would be invited. This was the biggest gathering of race in Spirit Realm. The present Qin family patriarch, Qin Hao, who had just built his 9th level of his soul altar, had stated that he would also come to 9th heaven. Immediately, the races of Spirit Race and other realms were in uproar. All wanted to know what would happen at 9th heaven in a fortnight. They all thought that the state of Spirit Realm would completely change that day. The factions of Spirit Realm and the other powerful races of other realms were waiting eagerly for that day. Qin Lai, who was determined to enter Spirit Realm first and destroy the Han family, waited for his soul beast avatar to turn the lizard progenitor into a soul slave. As he increased his bloodline rank, he chose the path La Pu gave, merging the essence blood of powerful races at this time. The bottles placed in front of him contained blood from the demon dragon Barrett, the vermilion bird Tong Yen, the gold giant Banderas, the black jail race Tyler, the sea race Haley, and the wood race's Roshchin. These drops of blood from rank 9 experts had been requested from the Baluo realm races through La Pu. Now, as the 6 spirits of void and chaos feet, he finally settled down and attempted to merge the blood of the races into his bloodline. Poof! Poof poof! He reached out and pointed. The porcelain bottles exploded, and the blood filled with physical energy flew out of the bottles. The ruby-like droplets of blood landed in his left palm like marbles. ZZT, ZZT. ZZT, ZZT. The flesh on his palm became as hot as fire. Then wisps of flame shot up and wrapped around the drops of blood. A dozen seconds later, his palm was a sponge that sucked the lifeblood essence of the experts of different races into his flesh and veins. Threads of burning sensation came from the blood vessels in his arm. His arm suddenly became bright red like metal. The bloodline in his body suddenly boiled. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Wisps of flame covered his body instantly, burning wildly and turning him into a flaming emend as the blood boiled. The drops of blood that entered his blood vessels seemed to explode inside his body. Many strange runes, lights, and unnamed lines which all possessed special meaning suddenly shot into his boiling blood and flashed like lightning through his veins. In this moment, the Abyss Devil bloodline, the 8-eyed demon spirit's blood, and the other bloodlines which did not belong to his body went wild. The bloodlines of the different races fought inside his body as a battlefield like wild horses and untamed lightning. In the secret room, he gave off wild animalistic howls of pain as his body burned. He trembled violently, in deathly pain, feeling that his tendons and blood vessels were tangled together and pulling closer. His body curled up on the ground as he rolled unconsciously, smashing the spirit materials the 6 spirits of void and chaos were eating. The spirits of void and chaos felt his pain and flew out of the piles of spirit materials, floating in the secret room and looking confusedly at him. Yeah. They screamed, attempting to give him help but did not know what to do or what was happening to him. Outside the secret room, Song Tingyu and Tang Siki also saw him rolling on the ground through a special artifact. Tang Siki was full of panic and attempted to open the secret room to help him. But Song Tingyu bit her lower lip and pulled her shoulder. Song Tingyu said, "He said we only have to stand here and not let others come in. No matter what we see or what happens to him, we cannot open the secret room." She sighed and said, "We cannot help him." Tang Siki felt a deep helplessness and said, "Qin family and the 6 factions are about to fight openly at 9th heaven. I know he is in a hurry and wants to increase his strength, so he treats himself so. I want to help him as well, but I feel I am useless and cannot help him at all. We can only help him from other areas." Song Tingyu was calm. "If we charge in now, we cannot help him. We will make trouble for him and do opposite of what we want." "I understand." Tang Siki nodded and sighed. The 2 women stopped talking and observed Qin Lai's actions through a prism. They watched as his body was drowned in flame, as though he was being burned. They saw him give heart-wrenching howls, as he seemed to mutilate himself to refine his body and bloodline in the secret room. Qin Lai howled wildly in pain as though he would use this method to lessen the pain he felt at this time. He felt the blood from the different races slowly spread through his veins. He had expected the presences of different races and talons of different bloodlines to explode instantly. He just had not imagined the droplets of blood from these rank 9 experts would produce such terrifying power. At this time, he was starting to regret being in such a hurry. He should not have merged blood of different races into his body together. He should have refined them drop by drop. Yet because the human gold rank factions and the patriarchs of the other races would meet at 9th heaven in a fortnight to discuss waging war on the Qin family, and his father would also appear, he realized the urgency of time. He wanted to have the soul beast avatar refine the lizard progenitor into a soul slave within a fortnight. He also wanted to increase his bloodline rank to rank 8. Then, he would use his true body to go to the Han family and first exterminate this race that prospered through harming him. He did not want to rely on the soul beast avatar's power to massacre the Han family, so he was in a hurry to mutilate his bloodline. In the secret room, Qin Lai roared, fire sprouting off his body. The inextinguishable flame of the Blaze family rampaged through his veins, exuding power capable of melting all creation. The lifeblood essence drops he tried to merge went through the baptism of the flames. Shortly after, the secrets, inheritances, and comprehension of laws was completely released into his blood. The strange laws contained within turned into specks of light that roamed about his body. At this time, Qin Lai's body was the furnace, the blaze divine characters the fire source, and the drops of various lifeblood essences the spirit materials. It felt as though he was refining a rare spirit artifact. After an unknown amount of time, the tearing pain gradually left him. He checked his body and found the runes, lights, and special bloodline secrets that had shot through his body had calmed after their frenzy. Replacing them was the calmness of mind and the receding of the raging flames. He probed with his mind and had his soul thoughts roam through his blood. He found that many streaks of light and mysterious patterns imprinted with special abilities had merged into his bloodline. The corrosion bloodline ability he had obtained after refining the silver streak, heavenly snake Nivit's blood, seemed to have been reforged. He observed the flow of the blood essence. The blood from the vermilion bird Tong Yen had turned into specks of light that merged with the part of his bloodline corresponding to the fire spirit. The 2 fire attribute bloodlines were very similar and clearly complemented each other. The blood from the demon dragon Barrett, the golden giant Banderas, and the black jail races Tyler joined with Nivit's blood and merged into his abyss devil race bloodline. The blood of the sea and wood races turned into specks of blue light and merged into the bloodline of the 8-eyed demon spirit. The 3 bloodlines, spirits of void and chaos, abyss devils, and 8-eyed demon spirits, became unusually active after being complemented by secrets and laws of the universe contained within the other bloodlines. He observed as he pondered and had new understandings. Are the bloodlines of demon dragon, ancient beast, giant, and black jail races connected to the abyss devil race? Otherwise, why did the blood of the 4 races easily merge into the abyss devil blood? The vermilion bird and the fire spirit primarily cultivate fire. It is easy to understand why these two bloodlines would merge. But the bloodlines of sea and wood races merged with eight-eyed demon spirit's bloodline. The eight-eyed demon spirit was a pet trained by the spirit race. Its blood should contain the bloodline attributes of the spirit race. Does this mean the sea and wood races are related to the spirit race? The wood race possess bloodline powers, mostly related to life. Looking at the different directions and changes of the bloodlines in his body, Xianxia suddenly realized that his knowledge had been limited. The fusion process opened completely new door to him. The perfect blood in his body originally had the silver streak heavenly snake Nivit's blood, the fire spirit's blood essence, the eight-eyed demon spirit, and the blood of abyss devil Atkins. Yet this time, when he attempted to merge the bloodlines of the vermilion bird, demon dragon, black jail, sea and wood races, he found to his surprise these bloodlines did not form separate abilities. Even the blood of the silver streak heavenly snake Nivit was merged into the abyss devil race bloodline. The other bloodlines also merged with other, more powerful bloodlines. It seemed that bloodlines of similar origins would attract each other and join together, emulating a bloodline closer to their source. God race, eight-eyed demon spirit race, abyss devil race, spirits of void and chaos. These should be four very different bloodline systems. The other bloodlines, like the ones I just refined, should belong to these more general systems, he realized. A long time ago, he felt that the bloodlines of the powerful races outside Spirit Realm had a common source. When the races of Nether Realm entered the Frost Desolation Abyss with his help, they suddenly found the Abyss Devil energy was actually Nether demonic energy but far denser. When they found that almost all high-rank Abyss Devils had purple blood, the races of Nether Realm had to admit the source of their bloodline was the Abyss. Since the three Nether Realm races originate from the Abyss, were the Spirit Realm's dragons or ancient beast race also descendants of powerful beings of more powerful realms? In the past, this was only a speculation. But this time he had a solid proof. Seeing the secrets of inheritance in the drops of essence blood merge with the bloodlines of Abyss Devils and eight-eyed demon spirit, his understanding of bloodlines deepened. So the races of major realms outside Spirit Realm have a progenitor, a source of their bloodline, deep out in the universe. After this conclusion, he had a deeper understanding of the bloodline of different races, and also a new understanding of the perfect blood in him. He believed the person who started the Perfect Blood Project knew better than anyone else the bloodline relationship between the races of Spirit Realm and the other powerful races in the universe. The main idea behind that person's perfect blood was to recombine the scattered bloodlines of the different bloodline systems and reproduce their origin. Would the perfect blood be achieved once all the scattered pieces were merged together? Xianxia suddenly opened his eyes. Intelligence flashed through his eyes. Suddenly, he felt he understood the secrets behind his bloodline. All the flames coming out of him went back into his body, and the inextinguishable flames in his body gradually calmed. His bloodline stopped boiling. The bloodline of the Blaze family wields the hottest inextinguishable flame which can melt anything. Only these flames can melt and merge bloodlines. So that is how it is. Creak! The stone door that had been closed for many days finally opened. Xianxia strode out of them lazily, illuminated by the three sons of Baluo realm. Song Tingyu and Tang Siki, who had nervously waited for him all this time, exhaled in relief. Their bright eyes immediately landed on his face. Xianxia smiled and instinctively touched his face, saying, "While I suffered much hardship, I've also made great gains." "What? Your bloodline reached rank 8. Song Tingyu smiled brightly. Xianxia shook his head and said honestly, "No." "Then what are the gains you speak of?" Tang Siki was surprised. "Other areas." Xianxia did not explain more about bloodlines to the two women. Both Song Tingyu and Tang Siki were pure humans. They had not mixed blood with the foreign races like the forces of Central World to resolve the issue of weak physical body of humans. The purest human bloodline, in his present knowledge, was not one that could be imprinted with the laws of the universe. The human race did not have their own chaos blood realm. Due to this, there was no point in him discussing the secrets of the bloodlines with Song Tingyu and Tang Siki. The two women did not have any rare bloodlines to provide to him. "I am going to the Ji family," he said casually. Returning to Central World? Song Tingyu changed expression. At this time? Yes. But. Song Tingyu hesitated to speak. She, who managed Flaming Sun Island, knew what would happen at Ninth Heaven of Central World through the clansmen of foreign races left in the Land of Chaos, and the news from the Frost Desolation Abyss. At this sensitive time, it was not wise for a person like him who was so important to appear in Central World. Do not worry, unless a Genesis Realm monster appears. It will take seconds if I wish to come back. Qianlai comforted. He was not speaking nonsense. These past 6 days he'd undergone self-mutilating torture, all in attempt to merge the blood of Barrett and the others. At this time, his blood contained the 4 different bloodline powers of the god race: the 8-eyed demon spirit, the abyss devils, and the fire spirit of void and chaos. Maybe it was because the bloodlines of Barrett, Tong Yen, Tyler, and the others didn't have anything to do with the god race bloodline that he'd failed to strengthen it and reach rank 8. Obviously, despite that, all his other bloodlines exploded in power. Even though he hadn't awakened any new latent abilities, his current ones more than doubled in strength. One of them was the Star Door ability of 8-eyed demon spirit bloodline. At that moment, with a simple thought, he could form Star Door in a flash. As long as the Genesis Realm experts did not instantly freeze space and damage the spatial laws in the area, he could go through the Star Door to return to any of the Soul Slaves. Then be careful. Song Tingyu did not try to persuade him otherwise. Tang Siki also said, "Go and return early." Yes. He turned into a bolt of blue lightning and flew down the mountain range. He sent some threads of soul thought infiltrated his blood to better understand his new blood. He found there were even more changes. His blood consisted of only 4 bloodlines. When he tried to observe them, he saw strange crystal chains flowing in his blood. All the bloodlines had them. The god race had crimson-red chains. The abyss devil race, purple. Deep blue for 8-eyed demon spirit and silvery white in the case of the spirits of void and chaos. The bloodline crystal chains of different colors flew through his bloodline like rays of light. The 4 different bloodline systems were clearly delineated and never touched. The secrets of the bloodlines, the inheritances, the meaning of power, the laws of the universe, and the rest were all imprinted in those bloodline crystal chains. Such an unimaginable phenomenon. Taking his soul thought back, he murmured mentally. He found for the first time his blood had such a beautiful scene. He suddenly realized through the 6 days of forging his bloodline, his perfect blood seemed to have gotten onto the right path. Whoosh! His figure appeared suddenly at the cave inside the ancient beast race's territory. A flash later, he disappeared. Soon after, he appeared in the 9th teleportation formation of the Ji family of Central World. Ji Yuan, who guarded the place, clearly stilled upon seeing him and said, "What are you doing here?" "Oh!" Before he could answer, Ji Yuan was shocked and said, "You built a soul altar." Ji Yuan, who had void realm cultivation, could see his present cultivation with a sweep of her mind consciousness. "I remember when I saw you last time, you were only in the middle stage of the Nirvana realm. I had not expected." Ji Yuan shook her head and said, "It seems that many things that we could never imagine had happened to you in these 3 centuries. Right now, the brightest stars of your generation are only in the imperishable realm. Most of them built their soul altars only recently. Han Qian herself broke through only 2 years ago. I've come to destroy the Han family," Qin family said calmly. "What?" Ji Yuan frowned and said urgently, "Do not mess around at this time." "Why not?" Qin Lai said curiously. "In 10 days, they will hold a conference at 9th Heaven to discuss the Qin family. I hear the leaders of the Dragon race and the Azura race have already reached 9th Heaven." Ji Yuan had a serious expression. The Genesis realm experts of 9th Heaven are either coming out of seclusion or returning from outside the realm. They are all preparing. The Han family is slightly far from 9th Heaven but still inside their territory. If anything occurs, the experts of 9th Heaven will come. You will not be able to escape. Do not worry. I will easily retreat after destroying the Han family, Qin family said with a smile. Ji Yuan's brow furrowed. Her gaze landed on the teleportation formation. She said, "Who else?" What? Qin Lai was confused. I am asking who else is coming other than you? Ji Yuan said matter-of-factly. No one, just myself. Qin Lai reacted and said with a smile, according to my knowledge, the Han family only has 5 imperishable realm experts. It won't be hard. Ji Yuan had a strange gaze. You just built your 1-level soul altar, and you consider 5 Han family elders in the imperishable realm? Not hard? Yes, Qin Lai said confidently. In the most hidden hall of the Ji family, Ji Yuan looked with doubt at Qin Lai, frowning. Please make arrangements for me. I know your Ji family has many teleportation formations and can send me to the Han family quickly. Qin Lai pleaded sincerely. As the oldest family of the human race, the Ji family did have many teleportation formations. If the Ji family was willing, they could instantly reach even the most remote part of spirit realm. Qin Lai came to the Ji family first because he was aware of that. The formations of the Ji family are limited to spirit realm. They are not as numerous as your Qin family's realm entrances in the past. Ji Yuan did not have any pride as she said. Before the Qin family left spirit realm, the realm entrances they had could connect with almost all the realms of the other races. The Ji family cannot compare to that. I am going to the Han family, Qin Lai said. Ji Yuan hesitated and said, follow me. Then, she slowly stood up from her seat and walked towards a secret door in the corner of the hall. Qin Lai immediately followed. Ji Yuan took him through a dim passageway to another enormous hall. There were at least 30 different teleportation formations in this hall, each guarded by a Ji family member. When Qin Lai came with Ji Yuan, he saw many martial practitioners wearing a variety of robes enter and leave those teleportation formations. This is the 8th hall of the Ji family, and has 36 differently sized teleportation formations that can reach 36 different continents of spirit realm, Ji Yuan explained. However, these teleportation formation can only transport inside spirit realm and cannot cross realms. As she spoke, she led the way. The Ji family martial practitioners who stood next to different teleportation formations bowed when she came near. Many of the martial practitioners who'd just come from other continents of spirit realm had been shouting or cursing, but when they saw her, they all stopped. Those martial practitioners who were not of the Ji family deeply bowed and waited for her to leave before leaving the hall orderly. Qin Lai observed and found the martial practitioners from different continents were mostly in the Nirvana realm, and some experts were in the imperishable realm. Through the robes they wore, he gradually realized those people should be vassal forces of the Ji family. Looking at the vassal forces experts scattered all over coming through the teleportation formations, he realized that the Ji family was moving their forces and preparing for the war. Maybe Skymender Palace and the Qin family also have many martial practitioners active and preparing for the battle. The more Qin Lai thought about it, the bigger the sense of urgency inside of him grew. Ji Yuan suddenly stopped beside a teleportation formation and ordered coolly, "Open the teleportation formation to Green Snake Sea." The martial practitioners responsible nodded and activated the oval teleportation formation without a word. The dark green light appeared from the bottom of the teleportation formation and covered it completely. All right. Ji Yuan looked back calmly at Qin Lai and said, "You should know that Green Snake Sea is very close to the Han family. You can reach the main lands of the Han family in a day." Qin Lai nodded and said, "I know. Go," Ji Yuan urged. Qin Lai immediately stepped into the teleportation formation. His figure was drowned in the dark green light. Just as he was waiting silently, a burst of fragrance came. Before he could react, he felt a wave of dizziness. Opening his eyes, he found he was standing in a secret cave under the water. The cave opening was flush with seawater but blocked out by a layer of green light. Under his feet was a small teleportation formation that could only hold 3 people. Other than him, Ji Yuan was also within it. Facing his puzzled gaze, Ji Yuan had a calm expression as she said coolly, "I do not think you, who's just reached the imperishable realm, can destroy the Han family." Qin Lai had a displeased expression. Ji Yuan did not seem to see it and said, "The Han family are relatives of the sea race of Green Snake Sea. These sea race clansmen think of the Han family as a connection to Ninth Heaven. They will not allow the Han family to be killed without reason, especially when Han Qian is being given more importance by the old monsters of Ninth Heaven. Before the sea race finds out, I will have finished and left. Qin Lai snorted. Ji Yuan shook her head and said, "It won't be so easy." She did not explain immediately and led Qin Lai to the cave entrance. A layer of light wrapped around her voluptuous body as she slowly floated to the surface. Qin Lai followed silently. Minutes later, he and Ji Yuan appeared on the surface together and stood on a desolate small island. Qin Lai ignored her, his body continuing to float until he looked down at the boundless sea from the air. The green snake sea's name came from its faint green color and shape of a coiled snake. For tens of thousands of years, some of the sea race clansmen living at the bottom of the Green Snake Sea frequently interacted with the people living on its islands. The Han family had grown through trading with the Green Snake Sea's sea race. For many years, the Han family and Green Snake Sea's sea race had a close relationship and were deeply trusted by them. When the human race learned the secret of stealing ancient bloodlines from ancient races through the blood progenitor's secret art, the Han family married with the sea race of Green Snake Sea. Soon after, the new generation of the Han family possessed the sea race's bloodline. Han Qian, Han Jia, and the other members of the Han family had awakened the sea race bloodline. The sea race of Green Snake Sea treated the Han family as bloodkin after this and grew even closer. In these years, as Han Qian was given more responsibilities by the Genesis realm old monsters of Ninth Heaven, the status of the Han family grew in Ninth Heaven. Even the sea race clansmen of Green Snake Sea grew closer to Ninth Heaven. They were just a small branch of the enormous sea race. They made up only a small faction and were limited in strength. In the past, the sea race clansmen of Green Snake Sea had been exiled by sea race clansmen of other realms. In these years, the Green Snake Sea's clan gradually established themselves through the relationship with the Han family and Ninth Heaven. Due to this, they thought of the Han family as a big part of their strength. Similarly, they thought of Han Qian, who had their bloodline, as their pride. You do not know that the Han family and the Green Snake Sea's sea race almost lived together. Ji Yuan rose into the sky and stood shoulder by shoulder to him. They looked together towards the largest island in the distance. She said, "The Han family lives on that island, and the sea race lives right underneath. The moment you attack the Han family, the sea race will rise up." Qin Lai looked following her gaze, his brow furrowed. It was a huge island in the middle of a sea of deep blue. Countless stone buildings filled the surface of the island, and flying spirit artifacts that looked like seabirds occasionally flashed across its sky. Besides that, a lot of big ships were parked on the shores of the island. There were a lot of humans on the ships and the docks, but there were plenty of sea race clansmen among them as well. They were transporting many precious spirit materials that could only be mined from the bottom of the sea to the island. Then, the spirit materials were carried onto flying spirit artifacts and sold on other continents. Right now, Qin Lai and Ji Yuan were hiding inside a cloud. They both looked surprised by the Han family's activities on the island. To think that the small Han family would become this prosperous in just 300 years, all thanks to the actions of a girl. Ji Yuan sighed emotionally. I remember that the Han family used to be the most inconspicuous force out of all of Ninth Heaven's vassal forces. Even the sea race clansmen from Blue Snake Sea used to order them around like they were servants all the time. Ji Yuan shook her head before continuing. 300 years have passed since. Today, the Han family had grown prosperous using Han Qian's connections in Ninth Heaven. She then shot Qin Lai an odd glance before bursting into laughter. One might say that she literally climbed to her position today on your body, didn't she? In fact, it won't be wrong to say that you're the one who gifted the Han family their prosperity today. Qin Lai's face was dark. That's why the first thing I'm doing after returning to the Central World is extermination of the Han family. It won't be that easy, Ji Yuan said calmly with a smile. Sense closely. Do you notice how many imperishable realm martial practitioners the Han family has? Don't forget to check under the sea too. According to my knowledge, the sea race clansmen of Blue Snake Sea have successfully raised 3 rank 9 bloodline experts just recently. Her expression slowly turned serious. The sea race's combat power is average, but Blue Snake Sea is their domain. It is a place where they can unleash their bloodline powers to the absolute limit. Also, 3 rank 9 bloodline experts are equal to 3 Void Realm human experts. Are you sure you must attack the Han family today? Yes, I am, Qin Lai replied harshly. Ji Yuan looked surprised by his answer. She shot him a deep look before saying, I told you all these, but you still wish to attack the Han family? It makes me wonder what on Spirit Realm gave you your confidence. You'll know very soon. Qin Lai snorted. Ji Yuan nodded and stopped trying to persuade him. Instead, she advised seriously, Your will is not mine to bend. That being said, I hope you realize that you only have an instant to eliminate the Han family the moment you show yourself. Do not give the sea race experts beneath the sea the opportunity to save them. If the rank 9 experts of the sea race emerge, you will lose your chance permanently. You'll have no choice but to escape from this place. Don't worry. Qin Lai narrowed his eyes and replied coldly, I will eliminate every living being on that island in just the blink of an eye. There is absolutely no chance anyone will survive this attack. Ji Yuan's beautiful eyes glowed brightly when she heard this. She stared at him closely as a brilliant smile spread across her face. What are you waiting for then? I'm not, Qin Lai said seriously. ZZZT. A bolt of lightning flew out of his pupils, and a translucent soul altar appeared into existence. The soul altar was refined from an origin crystal. Lightning and thunder could be seen surging inside the second it left Qin Lai's body. The crystalline altar floated above Qin Lai's head as the sky-piercing ancient spirit diagram it had fully absorbed before appeared. Suddenly, Qin Lai felt like he had become one with the world. It was as if he had complete control over the power of thunder, frost and earth all around him. Heavenly thunder eradication. Thunder of the 9th heaven. Rumble. Thick lightning suddenly poured down from the clouds above like a waterfall. It was as if they were lightning dragons emerging from the lightning pool of the 9th heaven itself. Ji Yuan looked up in shock. The sky had been clear and cloudless, but now it was completely covered in thunderous black clouds. Suddenly, Ji Yuan felt like the world was about to be destroyed in an apocalyptic hail of thunder and lightning. The strange mark on Qin Lai's chest glowed brightly with lightning like a tiny sun. It seemed capable of controlling the thunder and lightning around it to the fullest. The sky-piercing ancient spirit diagram inside Qin Lai's lightning-filled soul altar continued to work slowly. It seemed to be pulling thunder and lightning from every corner of the world. In just a dozen or so seconds, the unnaturally thick lightning bolts collapsed onto the island like an angry sea. What's going on? What happened? Why is the sky suddenly dark? What's with this terrifying thunder? The martial practitioners dressed in Han family uniforms rushed out of their grand stone palaces in a hurry. Be it on ground or on air, they were all staring at the sky in shock. Rumble! A lightning bolt the size of a giant dragon abruptly struck a giant flying spirit artifact. The flying spirit artifact was almost 1 kilometer long, and it was filled to the brim with precious spirit materials the workers had excavated from the sea. Besides that, it was guarded by a dozen or so fulfillment and nether passage realm martial practitioners. The giant lightning bolt had instantly destroyed the flying spirit artifact. Everything and everyone aboard the ship had exploded in an instant. They didn't even have enough time to let out a scream. It's an enemy attack. Prepare for battle. There is an expert hiding in the clouds. 3 Han family elders screamed as they unleashed their own soul altars and took to the skies. At the same time, blue light became intertwined with one another as they enveloped the island. It was the Han family's spirit energy light shield. Moon Tear. Qin Lai let out a soft cry as 9 brilliant starlights suddenly flashed from the dark sky. Those who were paying close attention would notice that the light dots were in fact shaped like crescents. They flew quickly and struck the Han family's spirit energy light shields like meteors. Crack! The dark light of the shield suddenly shattered into countless pieces. Then, the 9 murderous weapons that looked like stars started flying all over the island. Any Han family martial practitioner hit by the blinding fast rays of light was instantly chopped into tiny pieces of flesh. Soul Altar. Frost Storm. The seawater of Blue Snake Sea suddenly turned into ice under the might of his soul altar. Crack, crack, crack. The ice exploded, and countless icicles started raining on the island from every direction. It was like a stormy, unstoppable disk that kept raining murder onto the island. Tens of thousands of ice swords attacked the island at once. Without the protection of their spirit energy light shield, the Han family martial practitioners who were already being slaughtered by Moon Tier could do nothing but stare in despair at the icy projectiles. The sounds of sharp objects penetrating flesh kept resounding from the bodies of the Han family members. All these people lost their lives in just an instant. Standing beneath his soul altar, Qin Lai looked down coldly at the Han family's island as thunder roamed the skies like dragons. ZZZT. ZZZT. Occasionally, lightning would be generated inside his soul altar and infused into the world. Right now, Qin Lai was controlling the surrounding lightning, frost and earth through his soul altar. The sky-piercing ancient spirit diagram imprinted inside his soul altar seemed to be working its magic and helping him in manipulating the forces. All the secret techniques of heavenly thunder eradication or frost arts were manifested clearly by the threads of rules and Tao inside the soul altar. It was why he could execute them with incredible ease. One might say that his soul altar, the soul altar that was refined from an origin crystal, was the reason he was able to become one with the world and unleash the strongest form of his spirit energies to his heart's content. It's amazing how much a soul altar enhances one's spirit energy and spirit arts. No wonder it is often said that soul altar martial practitioners are the only ones who deserve the title of an expert. RRRMB. The thick lightning blasting the island beneath his feet didn't stop just because he was absorbed in thought. One by one, the Han family members were killed by the thunderstorm. Even those who survived the onslaught were cut into pieces by the divine-grade artifact Moon Tier or the hail of ice blades. In just dozens or so seconds, Qin Lai had turned a lively island into a living hell. Heart-rending screams were coming from every corner and every building existing on the island. Blood, flesh and bones were slowly but surely dyeing the island in red. Nearby, Ji Yuan frowned deeply while staying silent. She didn't interfere with Qin Lai's work. She watched quietly as Qin Lai skillfully manipulated his soul altar and reaped the Han family members' lives with the power of thunder, frost, and his artifact. He had literally drawn power from the lightning pool of heavens itself and froze the sea itself to unleash his storm of ice. She stared passionately at Qin Lai's one-level soul altar. Her amazement was only growing greater and greater. No wonder he's completely fearless, she muttered in her heart before she subconsciously compared Qin Lai to the so-called geniuses of the central world. She shook her head abruptly. Literally no one at the same realm was Qin Lai's match considering his current strength. The wonders displayed by Qin Lai one-level soul altar, the spirit energy, power, and laws it contained far surpassed any other one-level soul altar users. Right now, Han Qian was currently away for business, and Ji Yuan thought that she was incredibly lucky. It was because she had absolutely no doubt that Han Qian would be annihilated by Qin Lai if she was here on the island. I've never heard of someone who can become one with the world with just a one-level soul altar. Just unbelievable. She sighed to herself. Who is it? Who's trying to destroy the Han family? Don't you know that we're a vassal force of Ninth Heaven? By harming the Han family, you are asking for Ninth Heaven to take bloody revenge on you. You will not escape. Suddenly, the three Han family soul altar martial practitioners rushed towards them. Qin Lai had almost murdered everyone in the Han family except these three soul altar experts. Coincidentally, one of them was Han Qian's father. The angry trio who was enduring the lightning storm to get to him consisted of a 3-level soul altar expert and 2 1-level soul altar expert. They were all Han Qian's seniors. Soul altar martial practitioners. The corner of Qin Lai's mouth curled as he chuckled and pointed a finger at his glabella. Swoosh! 6 beams of brilliant light flew out of his glabella like lightning. They entered the trio's soul altars in just a breath's time. 1 fire soul altar and 2 gentle water soul altars? Oh well, they have to contain some power of fire and water, right? The fire spirit and water spirit were making their way into 2 soul altars while he was muttering to himself. The two Han family members who were being attacked cried out in fear and shock. To watch the soul altars they had spent so much to build slipping out of their grasp and being eaten by some foreign beings. It was a worse feeling than being killed in battle. See? I told you that the Han family isn't a problem. Qinlai turned to Ji Yuan and shot her a bright smile, saying, "The fight is over already. Even if the Sea Race clansmen of Blue Snake Sea were to surface right now, it's too late already. After all, I can return to Baluo realm immediately if I so desire." Right now, Qinlai looked incredibly relaxed. Even Ji Yuan herself was relaxing as if she was influenced by his emotions. The fact that she hadn't even released her own soul altar was proof that even she thought that the fight was over. "Those 6 foreign beings are your spirits of void and chaos, right?" Ji Yuan asked curiously. Qinlai smiled before answering, "That's right. They also infamously known as soul altar devourers. If an enemy soul altar expert wishes to unleash their soul altar to enhance their power, my spirits of void and chaos will be their worst nightmare." Ji Yuan asked again with a serious look, "What bloodline rank are they at right now?" "My fire spirit is at rank 8 bloodline. The rest are at rank 7. Qinlai revealed carelessly. He didn't see a reason to hide this from her. A rank 8 spirit of void and chaos. Ji Yuan tensed up a little when she heard this. She sucked in a deep breath before advising seriously, "You'd best make sure you have 100% control over your spirits of void and chaos. Once they evolve to rank 9 or even rank 10, they will become the nightmare of all races who cultivate soul altars." A pause later, she continued, "In fact, soul altar beings aren't the only ones who have to fear the spirits of void and chaos after they ascend to rank 10. They're capable of devouring even worlds of world spirit energy." Qinlai replied solemnly, "Don't worry, I will always have control over them. There will be no accidents. I can still remember the powerful races from other realms using all of their manpower and resources to eliminate a spirit of void and chaos just because it had reached rank 9. Ji Yuan's features didn't relax despite hearing Qinlai's promise. A rank 10 spirit of void of chaos is so destructive that they're practically realm destroyers. There isn't anyone who wants to witness the birth of a rank 10 spirit of void and chaos. "I will be careful." Qinlai nodded. Ji Yuan smiled bitterly. "Now that you've annihilated the Han family, the fact that you're raising spirits of void and chaos is something the 6 great forces will use against you. This is because the spirits of void and chaos are known to the races of spirit realm as one of the most terrifying evil in the world." Evil? Qinlai was slightly surprised by this. They're strange beings that can devour soul altars and even destroy the roots of an entire realm on their own. If they're not evil, then what is? Ji Yuan asked. It was at this moment the 3 Han family soul altar experts suddenly stopped screaming. When Qinlai and Ji Yuan turned to look at them, they discovered that their soul altars had seemingly exploded from the inside. The fire spirit and water spirit were happily chewing away at the soul altar chunks. Ji Yuan felt a chill crawling up her spine after watching them for a while. It was an instinctive fear towards the spirits of void and chaos. It didn't take long for the 3 Han family martial practitioners' soul altars to vanish into the fire spirit and water spirit stomachs. The water spirit looked absolutely exhausted after eating 2 soul altars in a row. It quickly vanished into Qinlai's glabella with a round tummy. The rest of the spirits of void and chaos didn't have a soul altar to consume, but there were spirit weapons and armors scattered all over the place. The wood spirit, metal spirit, and earth spirit zoomed in and out of the island as they consumed every high-grade spirit artifact they could find. To them, this excursion was a lunch trip. The rank 8 fire spirit was the only spirit that didn't return to the soul-suppressing orb immediately. It didn't go after other fire attribute spirit materials either. The fire qilin slowly turned illusory. Coils of flame started swimming inside the fire qilin's half-physical, half-illusory body. They seemed to represent some sort of absolute law. Crackle! Scarlet wisps of fiery patterns slowly appeared on the fire qilin's body. The fire spirit had its soul tendrils attached to the fiery patterns, almost as if it was studying them and probing the secrets they contained. Suddenly, Qin Lai felt a reaction inside the fire spirit's bloodline. When he concentrated, he gradually realized that the fire spirit was using its special bloodline to digest the power and laws of fire contained inside the soul altar it had consumed. Red sparks kept appearing on its body, as if they were purifying it. Is it digesting the secrets of power of that fire soul altar? Ji Yuan stared at the fire spirit dumbfoundedly for a moment before she suddenly exclaimed in sudden realization. The spirits of void and chaos can analyze the laws and rules of a soul altar. Heavens! Don't you know that all rank 8 spirits of void and chaos possess this ability? Qin Lai asked in confusion. Ji Yuan shook her head bitterly. The human race's knowledge regarding the spirits of void and chaos comes from other races. We've only come into power during the last 20,000 years or so, and the spirits of void and chaos are far more ancient in the history of spirit realm. She exhaled once before continuing. The dragon race, ancient beast race, Azura race, and other ancient and powerful races are extremely afraid of the spirits of void and chaos. In fact, they're so afraid that they'll do everything in their power to kill any spirits of void and chaos that makes it to rank 9. In the past, I thought they were exaggerating their threat, but now... She stared at the fire spirit who was still analyzing the fire soul altar with a complicated look on her face. She didn't say anything further than that. Splash! Suddenly, giant whirlpools began to appear near the shores of the island. Many powerful fleshly body presences burst out of sea surface without bothering to hide their presence at all. Their auras were burning with terrible fury. The 4 spirits of void and chaos that had been busy feeding on any spirit weapons and armors of interest converged around the fire spirit when they detected the activity in the sea. Qin Lai narrowed his eyes and sent a soul thought to the spirits of void and chaos from above his soul altar. The 4 spirits of void and chaos transformed into 4 colorful light ribbons and wrapped around the frozen fire spirit. Then they joined water spirit in the soul-suppressing orb. When the spirits of void and chaos had all safely returned, Qin Lai let out a chuckle before summoning a star door behind him. Ji Yuan immediately reacted and flew right next to him like lightning. It's those old sea race fellows. Ji Yuan snorted before continuing. The sea race is one of the many foreign races who voiced their support for the 6 great forces. The sea race of Blue Snake Sea is especially loyal to Ninth Heaven. They will do everything in their power to attack the Qin family. Sea race. Qin Lai shook his head with a smile that didn't reach the eyes. Swoosh! Giant water geysers surged into the air. At the top of every blue geyser was a sea race clansman. A total of 6 sea race clansmen had showed themselves. They looked mostly humanoid except for the gills on their cheeks and the tail of a fish. There was only one beautiful woman among the sea race group. Everyone else was male. Mistress! The Han family is all gone. A sea race clansman circled around the island once on his water geyser before screaming with a pale face. This is terrible. Ninth Heaven will definitely blame us for the Han family's destruction. And Han Qian will explode in anger if she learns of this matter. They will not forgive us. We must do something. Shut your mouth. The sea race woman whom the man had addressed as mistress scolded him angrily before looking up into the sky, yelling, Are you blind? The murderers are right above you. What the hell are you crying about? Oh! The sea race clansman hurriedly nodded. Why aren't we leaving? Ji Yuan asked curiously. She was confused. She thought that Qin Lai was planning to escape when he had created the star door, but that didn't seem to be the case. Leave! Qin Lai broke into a short laugh. Why would I? You think I'm afraid of this mistress? He shook his head calmly and said, It'll take more than her to drive me away. He knew at first glance that that so-called mistress was the only one who was at rank 9 bloodline. The rest of the sea race clansmen were only at rank 8, and the sea race was not known for their combat strength. There should be another 2 rank 9 sea race clansmen beneath the sea. Ji Yuan frowned. Do you really have to wait until they show themselves before leaving? Again, why would I leave? Qin Lai chuckled before looking at the star door behind them. It is true that I wish to annihilate the Han family with my own hands. I didn't want anyone to interfere with my revenge. However, these foreign beings are a completely different story, not to mention that I can't be bothered to deal with them myself. After he said this, he let out a soft cry. Come! The cold, stiff-faced Curtis was the first to fly out of the star door. He stood respectfully next to Qin Lai before greeting. Master! 3 more Azura race clansmen followed after him. They were all Void Realm experts just like Curtis. The 6C race clansmen's faces changed drastically when Curtis and the Azura race experts showed up. The one they called Mistress shot Qin Lai and his men a meaningful glance before saying suddenly, "The Han family's destruction has nothing to do with us. Ninth Heaven will deal with it themselves. Let's return." The 5C race clansmen were caught off guard by this. Then, the rank 9C race woman dove back into the sea swiftly and without another word. Qin Lai was just as surprised. He didn't think that the woman would escape without any hesitation whatsoever. It was clear that she didn't intend to take revenge for the Han family at all. But mistress, isn't Han Qian your daughter? A C-race clansman cried out. The C-race woman didn't seem to care about his complaints in the slightest. In fact, the water geyser she was standing on moved even faster back to the bottom of Blue Snake Sea. Han Qian's mother. Qin Lai's eyes lit up. At first, he had lost interest in fighting the C-race of Blue Snake Sea. The C-race woman was smart enough to avoid confrontation with him, so he saw no need to waste his energy on her. But now he realized that that woman was Han Qian's mysterious mother. His interest was immediately piqued. Wait! He'd known that Han Qian and Han Jia's mother was from the C-race. Recently, because he desired to destroy the Han family, he had spent some effort to understand the Han family's situation. The other members of the Han family, the imperishable realm martial practitioners, the patriarch, every outstanding member, he knew them all. The only person he didn't have accurate information on was Han Qian's mother, from the C-race. In the Han family, there did not seem to be any information about this C-race woman. He'd been curious about it all along. Suddenly, the C-race clansman pointed out the identity of that woman, Han Qian's mother. Qin Lai's interest was instantly piqued. Wait! He shouted. The woman clearly ignored his shout. The enormous pillars of water rising out of Blue Snake Sea disappeared into the sea in a flash like falling dragons. The woman the other C-race clansman called Mistress ignored the clansmen still on the surface and disappeared without a care for them. Qin Lai's face darkened as he snorted. You think you can flee by going into the sea? Ji Yuan had been about to speak. Seeing some more Void Realm Azura race clansmen come out of the star door, she perceptively went silent. Since you do not give me face, then we can only go underwater, Qin Lai shouted. The Void Realm Azura race clansmen led by Curtis knew his thoughts and smiled coldly as they charged into the water first. What are you doing? The rank 8 Bloodline C race clansman who had exposed Han Qian's mother shouted loudly. Below is the forbidden land of my C-race. If you dare to invade, the C-race will be your enemy. Enemies with the C-race. Qin Lai sneered and said uncaringly, I heard your C-race has already stated they will ally with the 6 forces to attack the Qin family? Is this true? The Qin family is in collusion with the God race, and is the common enemy of all the races of Spirit Realm. Why shouldn't the C-race fight for the races of Spirit Realm? The other argued, fight for the races of Spirit Realm. Such pretentiousness. Qin Lai snorted and said darkly, I want to see if you have enough strength to match your tone. Whoosh whoosh. The Azura race soul slaves, led by Curtis, stabbed into the Blue Snake Sea, headed straight towards the seabed. Qin Lai did not notify Ji Yuan. He moved his soul altar towards the Blue Snake Sea. The star door behind moved along with him and also sank into the sea. Ji Yuan stood in the sky dumbfounded, but after a brief moment of hesitation, she also followed. She knew since she appeared in the clouds with Qin Lai and watched as Qin Lai destroyed the Han family. The Ji family that she represented had burned their ties with Ninth Heaven. Regardless of whether she admitted it, the people of Ninth Heaven would treat her like an enemy. Since that was so, she did not want to hide. She wanted to see how Qin Lai would defeat the C-race clansmen hiding in Blue Snake Sea. At the bottom of Blue Snake Sea, Crystal underwater palaces decorated the seabed. Many sea race clansmen walked out of the glowing crystal palaces and looked towards the surface. The sea race clansmen at the bottom could feel the great disturbance at the surface. The sea race clansmen who had been cultivating hurriedly came out and looked in shock upwards with serious expressions. Vanessa has already gone up. This matter should be related to the Han family. No matter what happened, we will try to have her deal with it, said an old sea race clansman with a seaweed beard and a crab shell on his back. If something happens, we will have her take the blame. The other older female sea race clansman nodded and said, the meaning of her existence is to help avert calamity for us. The other sea race clansmen around them all agreed. As they spoke, a figure came from the surface, the Vanessa they had been discussing. Vanessa, with her graceful and full figure, seemed to have a naturally seductive face. Her water-blue silk dress perfectly delineated her curved body. The crabshell sea race elder showed a deeply hidden hint of heat in his cold eyes, but his tone was not polite at all. Vanessa, why did you already come down? Who is making a ruckus up there? Did the Han family kill the invader? Did you tell the Han family those invaders have affected us? Ridiculous, we have to cultivate under the sea. Do not let them do as they please, the female sea race elder said darkly. The other sea race clansmen also shouted loudly, saying Vanessa had not been able to stay in the Han family and raise Han Chen well, and that she was the reason why Han family was growing more and more disrespectful towards them. You don't have to worry about Han family disrespecting you any longer, Vanessa said coldly. Oh, the old man's expression changed slightly and he smiled, saying, tell me, what happened? Did Han Chen truly accept you? She is your daughter, she has your bloodline, she should listen to you. The female sea race woman said matter-of-factly. No, Vanessa shook her head and said disdainfully. I was sent to the Han family to be a breeding tool. The entire Han family, from old to young, none of them truly considers me important, including Han Chen and Han Jia. They never treated me as a mother. Pausing, she looked towards the old woman and man of the sea race and said coldly, you are the same. Shut your mouth, the old woman said angrily with a harsh expression. If not for us too, you would have starved to death in the outside oceans. We took you here and raised you. We are your adoptive parents, the old sea race man shouted. Vanessa's expression was cold as she said, I heard that I had been stolen from your enemies from a sea race tribe of another realm. When I was young, I doubted the rumors, but as I grew, as you pushed me into the hell of the Han family, I gradually believed this truth. She seemed to calm down and said, since everyone is going to die here, I do not have anything to fear. I only want to know, are the rumors about me true? You too adopted me and raised me to gain revenge on your enemies. What are you saying? What do you mean we will all die here? The sea race old man said in shock. The Blue Snake Sea's sea race clansmen had anxious expressions hearing her words, and seemed to know something terrible was happening at the surface. They looked upwards. People are coming. They suddenly saw the Azura race experts led by Curtis cheering down on their soul altars. They finally panicked. Whore! What happened above? The old female had a ghastly expression as she screamed, if I learn you brought trouble upon us, I will cut the flesh off your body inch by inch. The Han family is already destroyed. That person will not spare anyone here. Vanessa had a calm expression as she did not hear the threat and laughed. Even if he does not want to act, I will do all I can for him to slaughter us. Are you insane? The old sea race man shouted. Since you sneaked in that night and did that thing to me, I already am insane. You think I will not recognize you if you change your appearance. Adoptive father. Vanessa's eyes were filled with endless hatred, as though she wanted to slowly strangle this old sea race man who was her adoptive father in name to death. So you were the one who did it, the old sea race woman shouted. The old sea race man wearing the crab shell shrank back and laughed awkwardly. He said, I just got some interest. The girl's parents humiliated us so greatly. No matter what we do, it's still reasonable. You finally admit it. Vanessa's body trembled, her eyes full of harsh hatred. The sea race tribe of Blue Snake Sea is not recognized by the true sea race. but they are still one of them. If you kill all the sea race clansmen here, the sea race will still come after you. Ji Yuan softly landed as she said to Qin Lai, the sea race has enormous numbers in the major oceans of Spirit Realm, including many secret realms. It can be said the population of the sea race is just below the human race. It is not appropriate to offend them. Qin Lai sat on his lotus-like soul altar, releasing a layer of spirit power that protected his body. Listening to Ji Yuan's words, he had an expression of disagreement. Has the sea race not already stated they will work with the six forces against us? If so, why do we have to fear offending them? The one who express an attitude is the present sea race patriarch. He may not be able to represent all sea race clansmen. The sea race has many main and cadet branches, and the patriarch does not have the ability to control the entire sea race. Ji Yuan explained, in reality, the sea race has 5 great sea kings. They have the most power in the sea race. The present sea race patriarch is just one of the 5 sea kings. The sea race of Blue Snake Sea does not have a sea king? Qin Lai asked. No. Ji Yuan shook her head, her expression slightly dismissive. The strongest of this tribe are only at rank 9. There's no way they can have a sea king, which are all rank 10 bloodline experts. They all control vast waters and have millions of clansmen under them. If they are just a small branch of the sea race, their death won't affect the bigger picture. Qin Lai sneered. As he spoke, he sped up his soul altar and charged towards the bottom of Blue Snake Sea. Bright crystal palaces appeared on the seabed as he sank down. Many sea race clansmen walked out of the crystal palaces and looked in shock at him. He looked with his mind and drove his soul altar along with Ji Yuan to where Curtis was. The Azura race Void Realm experts led by Curtis had used their bloodline power to directly reach where Vanessa and the old sea race couple were. There were 3 rank 9, as well as many rank 7 and 8 experts present. When Curtis appeared, he locked onto his target and moved for the Azura race clansmen to spread out and surround the sea race experts. What are you doing? The sea race and the Azura race have had no grudges in the past. Why is the Azura race invading Blue Snake Sea? The old sea race man in the crab shell shouted. I am Anya. The sea race of Blue Snake Sea has been formally accepted by the patriarch of the sea race. Not long ago, the sea race patriarch and your Azura race patriarch have discussed allying with the 6 forces to attack the Qin family. We are allies. The wrinkled and old sea race woman shouted excitedly. Quickly leave our waters. Otherwise, we will immediately report to the patriarch to ask your Azura race for an explanation. I hear you destroyed the Han family? Humph. Do you not know that Han Qian of the Han family is the most important genius of 9th Heaven? The 9th Heaven will definitely pursue this matter to the end. The old sea race man suddenly became courageous as well. Yet Curtis, who had ordered to surround them, was not affected by their threats. Curtis only looked at Vanessa, narrowed his eyes and said, Our master told you to wait. Did you ignore us purposefully to lure us down? Vanessa was about to speak when she saw a soul altar flying over and closed her mouth. In the blink of an eye, Qin Lai appeared next to Curtis, the star door he had formed following him. Master, that woman. Curtis told Qin Lai some of the things he had eavesdropped mentally and then said, That woman seems to want us to kill all the sea race clansmen here. She does not seem to react at all to the Han family being destroyed. She must have hated them. So just a tragic sacrifice. Qin Lai realized. I know who you are. Suddenly, Vanessa looked at Qin Lai and said expressionlessly, If you kill all the sea race clansmen here, no matter how you want to humiliate Han Qian through me, I will completely comply with you and satisfy you. Whore! You dare! The old sea race clansman who called herself Anya shouted upon hearing her words. If you dare say a word more, I will kill you. As she spoke, Anya took out a dark green snake-headed staff, 2 green snakes still hissing and flicking their tongues on the staff head. A soul shadow appeared with green light where the 2 snakes' tongues met. At this time, the shadow of the green snakes appeared in Vanessa's eyes. Her cheeks quickly sank as though she was robbed of energy. The bloodline presence that came from her quickly spilled away. The snakehead staff in the old woman's hand shone with light. The two green snakes coiled on it became full of life as though they obtained great power. Vanessa seemed to be weakening. Her eyes became heavy. Just as she was about to faint, she looked at Qianlai and said weakly, If you help me kill them, I will give everything to you. Die! The old sea race woman had a harsh expression as she reached for the soul shadow in the mouths of the two green snakes. Master, Curtis said softly. Qianlai's brow furrowed. He turned to the old sea race woman. I need Han Qian's mother alive. Whether or not you are alive is meaningless to me. When he finished speaking, bolts of lightning shot out of his soul altar. The finger the old woman was pressing to the soul shadow trembled and did not dare to land. Kill them, Qianlai said coolly. All right, Curtis answered respectfully. Subsequently, these Void Realm experts hardened by the abyss summoned a wave of chilling energy that drowned all the Sea Race clansmen. No one escaped, including the rank 9 Anya and the old Sea Race man. Just a branch of the Sea Race dares to be so arrogant. Like they are worth something, Qianlai muttered. Since the 5 kings of the Sea Race are not of one mind, I can use this. Qianlai sedately walked over to Vanessa. The life presence of the Sea Race woman who had collapsed to the ground was slowly weakening and would run out soon. Qianlai's expression was cold as he felt with his mind. Then his gaze moved to the old Sea Race woman's snake-headed staff. Has the Azura race gone mad? Anya waved the snake-headed staff as she shouted at Curtis. The two green snakes wrapped around the snake-headed staff flickered their tongues rapidly and gave off blue lightning. Anya's arm, which held the snake-headed staff, originally had loose and dim skin, the color that the skin of an 80-year-old should have. Yet as the lightning landed on her arm quickly grew younger. The skin tightened and grew smoother as she had grown a decade younger. So it is an evil art to absorb vitality. Qianlai watched for a while and understood. He speculated Han Qian's mother had been trained to reach rank 9 bloodline deliberately by Anya. The malicious Sea Race old woman should have did something to Vanessa's soul and bloodline when she was young. The snake-headed staff could absorb Vanessa's vitality and soul when needed, and be used to replenish Anya's bloodline power and vitality. Because of the prearrangements, she did not worry that Vanessa would create trouble for her after growing stronger. Also, she thought of ways to help Vanessa increase her bloodline power. In her eyes, everything Vanessa accomplished would become her power. She raised Vanessa like a human pill. Maybe Vanessa herself understood this, so she hated the Sea Race woman greatly. In order to kill her adoptive parents, she was willing to pay any price. These two old fogies should die. Ji Yuan saw the truth through the snake-headed staff and couldn't help cursing. Such evil creatures should not be allowed to live. She suddenly had sympathy for Vanessa. In her eyes, Vanessa's life was a tragedy. When she was stolen from her parents, it was fated she would encounter unimaginable tragedy in her lifetime. How could a child raised by enemies hope of happiness? If you do not stop this, Han Qian's mother will die, Ji Yuan warned. Qianlai looked deeply at Vanessa, thought for a moment, and nodded. Yes, I need her alive. Then hurry up. Curtis cannot immediately kill that old demoness. As long as she is alive, the two snakes will continue to absorb vitality from this woman, Ji Yuan said urgently. Looking at Ji Yuan's angry state, Qianlai laughed. What are you getting so worked up about? I just don't want to see the old witch succeed. Ji Yuan snorted. Why don't you act? Qianlai said. I am not as strong as Curtis, and the addition of myself will not change anything, Ji Yuan said impatiently. Qianlai was still going to speak when Ji Yuan interrupted him and shouted. You should not stay long here. Blue Snake Sea belongs to Ninth Heaven's territory, and the strongest experts of Ninth Heaven should mostly be out of seclusion. The longer we stay, the more accidents may occur. You should understand this. I know. Qianlai nodded and said. He pressed a hand to his forehead. Rays of green light flew out of the soul-suppressing orb and fell towards Vanessa's forehead. That ray of green light twisted and turned into a miniature ancient life tree. In Ji Yuan's view, a tree seemed to take root on Vanessa's forehead. The small green branches swayed and merged many strange tree patterns into Vanessa's forehead. Seconds later, strange tree patterns appeared on Vanessa's face, neck and exposed skin. Those tree patterns seemed to ripple like waves and narrate something. Poof! Circles of green light spread from Vanessa's body and wrapped around her. Ji Yuan suddenly felt unusual life vibrations and looked in shock. She then saw Vanessa become refreshed as though she hadn't been on her last breath just seconds earlier. Her closed eyes slowly opened and became energized again. Vanessa looked with shock at Qin Lai. In this moment, she felt the vitality belonging to her being channeled back into her body by the small tree on her forehead. The vital energies taken from her previously and her bloodline power were quickly returning. Even a part of her soul origin mark that she had always lacked since childhood seemed to come back with her energy. She felt her body improve by the second. Ah! What is this? What is this? Suddenly, Anya of the sea race screamed in terror. She looked with a pale face at her snake-headed staff. The two snakes which coiled around the top were wrapped together like rope, the snakeheads hanging down as though they were dead. This did not terrify her the most. She saw the vitality she had absorbed flow back uncontrollably into the snake-headed staff. The seemingly endless vitality had already been half gone. She was terrified and attempted to throw away the snake-headed, but she found the two seemingly dead snakes wrapping around her arm. Strange tree patterns appeared in the eyes of the two snakes and seemed to contain the laws governing life itself. After her initial shock, she immediately felt the vitality in her body flow towards the snakes. Unable to be stopped, she completely panicked. Boom! Curtis rammed her with his 6th-level soul altar like a mountain to crush the bones in her chest and stun her. The two snakes on her arm could not be pulled off and wildly consumed her vitality. At this time, she was numb and powerless all over, unable to move as though she was poisoned. She watched as the two snakes absorbed her vitality and bloodline power, completely helpless against it. After a while, her hair turned white and her skin resembled tree bark stuck to her bones. At this time, she was like a dried and withered corpse without any life. Curtis, who had wanted to kill her, suddenly stopped in front of her. He looked down distastefully at her, shook his head and left. Curtis seemed to know that Anya would die without needing him to act. Anya was already barely conscious. Before death, she looked towards Vanessa and seemed to see a bright and beautiful woman laughing at her. That beautiful woman seemed to grow even younger and beautiful as she laughed. Anya murmured something unknown before her eyes closed and the last threads of soul power dissipated. Such an evil art, absorbing vitality and bloodline power, and even the last bit of soul origin after soul power. Ji Yuan looked with disgust at Anya's body and cursed, feeling cold. Through Qin Lai's explanation, she knew that his spirit of void and chaos used the two snakes to retaliate against Anya using her own art. She thought Anya's evil art only took vitality and bloodline power, nothing else. But looking at Anya's state after death, Ji Yuan realized that the old witch wanted to rob Vanessa of everything, her soul origin included. She had no intention of letting Vanessa walk again. This person deserved to die, Ji Yuan said coldly. Poof! At this moment, the sea race old man wearing the crab shell was killed by a joint attack of 4 Azura race experts. The sea race clan of Blue Snake Sea was only a minor branch of the sea race and had never produced a rank 10 sea king. They only had 3 rank 9 bloodline experts, one of them being Vanessa. The combat power of the sea race didn't place them among the powerful races of the major realms. The Azura race, led by Curtis, was a powerful race famed across the major realms for their combat power. Curtis himself had fought in the Frost Desolation Abyss along the Soul Beast Kadak. They were stronger than ordinary Azura race clansmen. This could be seen from how Nivit and Teng Yuan encountered them and lost back in the past. One side was extremely individually strong, the other side average, and the stronger side had more people. This battle was unequal from the start. The Blue Snake Seas clan fell into bloody pools as Curtis and the others moved. Ji Yuan only glanced around and knew that this sea race branch hidden in Blue Snake Sea would be completely killed in half an hour. Their bloodline rank is too low. Do we need to waste time? She suggested to Qin Lai. Qin Lai smiled and said, We will leave in a while. Kill as many as we can. He reached out to grab. That snake-headed staff the sea race old woman had thrown away flew into his palm. He looked at the two blue snakes who had just been moving on Anya's arm. At this time, as the wood spirit retracted its presence, causing the two snakes to lose all signs of life. Heeding his order, an Azura race clansman detached the two snakes from the old sea race clansman's arm. He held the two dead snakes and came next to Qin Lai to respectfully hand them over. Ha ha ha! Dead. Such good deaths. Ever since I was young, I have never been as happy as now. Vanessa laughed wildly. She had not stopped laughing since she stood up. She laughed, trembling, her smile bright, clearly pleased. When she saw the vitality and soul power of the old sea race woman slip away, followed by her death, she laughed even louder. When that old sea race man with the crab shell was killed by the Azura race experts, she felt even better. The suffering she had gone through for many years seemed to have finally found an outlet. Qin Lai gripped the snake-headed staff in one hand, the two snakes in the other as he looked at her strangely. Vanessa's vitality, bloodline power, and soul power which had been drawn to the old sea race woman had returned. The sea race mark had backlashed on the blue snakes because of wood spirit's interference. Her vitality, bloodline power, and soul power had entered Vanessa's body. Vanessa had benefited from her misfortunes, her bloodline power and soul power increasing. She even seemed to grow a decade younger. The reason Qin Lai had a strange expression was he found that Vanessa, after absorbing Anya's vitality, seemed very similar to Han Qian. However, her aura and Han Qian's auras were completely different. Han Qian had experienced several years of ease, had a high status in ninth heaven, and had a cold and proud presence like a flower of ice. Vanessa's body was more mature than Han Qian's, and even as she laughed madly, she seemed dignified and elegant. Vanessa did not stop laughing because of his gaze, and walked towards the old sea race man. Qin Lai stared at her for a while and then put his attention onto the snake-headed staff and the two snakes. The wood spirit, in the form of the ancient life tree, stood on his shoulder like an actual tree. The wood spirit mentally told him what it knew about the snake-headed staff and the two snakes. As he listened, he nodded and murmured to himself. Trapping a part of the soul origin, using the souls of the two snakes to ensnare, using the soul origin as the medium to extract the bloodline and vitality of the other. This kind of evil art would need to be cast from childhood, and be constantly perfected over time. Otherwise, it wouldn't have reached such a terrifying level. He murmured, soul shadows flying out of the center of his forehead. The soul shadows converged into soul threads that pierced into the snake-headed staff and the dead snakes. Once the soul threads entered the staff, he saw a strange spirit diagram. That spirit diagram was made from two snakes entwined around each other inside the snake-headed staff. Strange soul power and threads of sea race bloodline power mixed in the center of the formation and still seemed to be slowly flowing. Upon first glance, it looked like he was holding the staff in an undamaged state, two snakes coiled around it. He exclaimed softly. Another part of his soul power went to roam around the dead snakes and discovered nothing unusual. He casually threw the two blue snakes to the side. He focused his attention and carefully observed the snake-shaped spirit diagram inside the snake-headed staff with his unique soul perception. Please forgive us. Broken up soul thoughts came from the snake-shaped spirit formation. If he had not been focused, he would not have been able to understand the meaning. We were enslaved by that demoness, our souls extracted and forced into this formation. Just now, when we left her control, we immediately cooperated with your friend and counterattacked. We helped you kill her. The soul thought coming from the snake-shaped spirit diagram was weak, but Qin Lai gradually understood the meaning. He was more curious and said, "Are you the souls of the two snakes?" Just a small portion. The weak thought came slowly through the snake formation. We are members of the ancient beast race. Us two brothers were captured by the demoness when traveling outside and then were trapped here. Now that the demoness is dead, please spare us. If you can give this snake-headed staff to our father, he will thank you well. Our father is the heavenly blue snake king. If you take our bodies and this staff to our father, he can revive us. The soul thoughts of the snakes fought to communicate with him and begged him for mercy. Qin was shocked. He glanced at Ji Yuan and said, "What is the status of the heavenly blue snake king among the ancient beast race?" Ji Yuan was startled and said, "The heavenly blue snake king is one of the beast kings of the ancient beast race. His status in the ancient beast race is only second to the leader of the ancient beast race." Why the sudden question? I had not expected him to be of such a high status. Qin was surprised. He thought and then picked up the 2 snake corpses he had thrown on the ground. Ji Yuan had an expression of puzzlement, not knowing what he was doing. On the other side, Vanessa held a cold, sharp sword as she chopped the corpse of the old sea race man into pieces. Vanessa's eyes were filled with hatred. Bloody pieces of flesh sprayed from the mutilated corpse and dirt her body. However, she didn't seem to realize, attacking the corpse as furiously as ever and venting her hatred. It seemed like she wouldn't stop until she chopped that man into mincemeat. Curtis and the other Azura race experts looked at the venting Vanessa and had shocked expressions. They secretly put some distance between themselves and this mad woman. After a while, Vanessa dropped the sword, covered in blood. She started to cry wretchedly beside the old sea race man. Ding, ding, ding. A silver bell on Ji Yuan's wrist suddenly gave off an urgent ringing. She touched a finger to it and felt. Ninth heaven knows what happened to the Han family. Her expression was stern as she said, "If there are no surprises, in at most half an hour, Ninth heaven's experts will come. Also, their leader is likely in the Genesis realm. We must leave immediately." Qin spread a soul thought. The Azura race soul slaves chasing down the sea race survivors received his message and gathered from all over. He looked at the crying Vanessa and said coldly, "If you want to live and know your identity, leave with me." Vanessa came to from her frenzied state and immediately flew away from the gory body. The star door formed with the power of the 8-eyed demon spirit's bloodline shone behind Qin. The soul slaves did not wait for his orders to go into the star door. "Is it Baluo realm or the frost desolation abyss over there?" Ji Yuan asked. "Baluo realm, you can go through the realm entrance there to the Ji family. Of course, if you want, you can go to the frost desolation abyss," Qin family answered. "Oh," Ji Yuan nodded. She did not waste words and entered the star door. "Go in as well," Qin ordered Vanessa. This sea race woman who had a rank 9 bloodline did not say a word and went into the star door with her head low. She immediately disappeared. After everyone disappeared, Qin pulled back the soul thoughts he had spread all over and calmly entered the star door. Ninth heaven. Pei Tianchong stood on top of the enormous mountain unmovingly, his face dark. Hong Qing of Starry Hall, Shi Beihai of Six Ways Alliance, Zhu Han of Reincarnation Sect, Ao Mingda of the Ao family, and Lu Jinghuan of the Lu family were next to him. These 6 were the public leaders of the 6 allied factions. A Void Realm martial practitioner wearing the robes of Ninth Heaven suddenly flew over and quickly landed next to Pei Tianchong. Pei Tianchong looked at him and said in a relatively calm tone, "What happened to the Han family?" "The Han family has been wiped out." The incomer bowed and said respectfully, "Even the sea race of Blue Snake Sea, which was close to the Han family, had everyone above rank 6 slaughtered. It can be said that the sea race of Blue Snake Sea has been cleaned of all their experts." Pei Tianchong took a deep breath and said irritably, "Do you know who did it?" "The sea race sent an image. I saw it and am sure that person is Qin." The incomer had a bitter expression and disbelief in his eyes. He said, "I find it hard to believe, but the truth. I knew that this boy was abnormal." Pei Tianchong shouted angrily. The incomer grew more respectful and said, "I believe it this time." Not long ago, Pei Tianchong had said Qin had killed his brother Pei Tianming and wanted to use all his forces to attack the Qin family. The other 5 factions did not believe him and thought that Pei Tianchong was finding an excuse to attack the Qin family. They did not think that Qin was truly capable of killing Pei Tianming, not just them. Even many of the experts inside Ninth Heaven felt that Pei Tianchong was just an alarmist. A trash who had not awakened his bloodline 3 centuries ago and could not even win against Han Qian could not have become a super expert capable of killing Void Realm expert like Pei Tianming after only 3 centuries, no matter how hard Qin family had tried to nurture him. It went against common sense. Yet Pei Tianchong insisted that Qin Lai had been the culprit behind his brother's death in the Land of Chaos. He had used the secret art of Ninth Heaven to recreate his brother's soul altar. He used the remnants of his brother's soul power to successfully recreate Qin Lai's appearance. Qin Lai, who had just returned to Baluo realm and had yet to enter Seven Spirits Island, was still in his humanoid form of the soul beast. He had turned thoughtfully. The sharp gaze from the green eyes of the soul beast avatar and the terrifying soul vibrations had terrified Pei Tianchong. Because of that glance, Pei Tianchong suddenly realized that Qin Shan and Qin Hao were not the only threats of the Qin family. He saw an even greater threat from Qin Lai at present. He worried if the 6 factions did not do something and wasted any more time. The 3rd generation of the Qin family. Qin Lai would grow to a terrifying level. Because he believed that Qin Lai would be the greatest threat in the future, he was in a hurry to use the power of the 6 factions. He invited members of all races to Ninth Heaven to discuss fighting the Qin family. He thought that he could not give Qin Lai more time to grow. Kunhuan domain is lost. The subordinates we sent to the lizard race's realm have not responded. Also, the realm entrance to this realm had been closed. Pei Tianchong's expression was grave. The signs show that the Qin family is already moving. The forces we have assigned to Kunhuan domain and the lizard race should have been already eliminated. And now, Qin Lai went to the Han family and exterminated those who have profited from their scheme against him. He also took care of the neighboring Sea race tribe. This means the Qin family is no longer just sitting and waiting. Pei Tianchong looked at the group and said, "Soon, Qin Hao will come to Ninth Heaven. Everyone knows that he is not a rash person. He will create a storm when he comes. Before he comes, I hope everyone can work together and persuade our blood kin to stand with us. As long as the leaders of the Outer Realm races are willing to ally with us, regardless of the Qin family's developments outside the realm, they will still lose." The leaders of the other 5 factions nodded with serious expressions after his speech. "I will do my best to persuade the ancient beast race. I will have the wood race stand on our side. I will attempt to continue communicating with the giant race." Rock Calamity Realm. On a small island, Han Qian stood by the lake, her feet bare as she walked along the shore. Blue threads occasionally flew from her feet and landed in the water like blue threads, creating strange ripples. If one looked closely, the ripples coming from the shore flashed with blue light as though they contained a special water power. Han Qian narrowed her eyes as she felt the Sea race bloodline latent ability she had recently unlocked. She was combining it with the water spirit art she cultivated to increase her control of the soul altar. Whoosh! The old servant of the Han family came in a hurry and said in a panic, "Miss, we just received news from Ninth Heaven." "What?" Han Qian said indifferently. "The Han family has been killed by Qin Lai. Everyone is dead. No one escaped. Even the Blue Snake Sea's Sea race tribe had all their members above rank 6 killed." The old servant of the Han family had red bloodshot eyes. Han Qian, who had been just comprehending her bloodline ability, suddenly lost control upon hearing the bad news. She could not stop throwing up blood, her face paling as she gave a horrific shriek. "Qin Lai! I swear I will skin you." After saying this, she fainted from the sudden instability in her usage of bloodline power. Miss, wake up." The Han family servant had an expression of terror. It was a dark day at a desert in the lizard realm. 2 giant beasts with their heads facing one another were curled up at the center of the desert. Their bodies were covered in so much sand that they looked like 2 giant sand dunes at first glance. Chun Lin and Dan Yuanqing floated above the giant beasts like clouds. They had lost interest in the giant beasts' activity since a while ago. Instead, they were busy comprehending the laws of power inside the world of their soul altars. Some time later, the lizard progenitor slowly opened its eyes. Soul imprints that looked like clouds began showing up in the lizard progenitor's pupils one after another. "Eh!" Chun Lin and Dan Yuanqing were startled at the same time. They both turned to stare at the lizard progenitor curiously. They noticed that the soul clouds that had suddenly appeared in the lizard progenitor's giant pupils were emitting countless mysterious soul thoughts. These soul thoughts were unfamiliar and difficult to understand to them, but they clearly contained some secrets of the soul. Although they couldn't understand their meaning, it didn't take much sensing for their submerged souls to react. They also noticed the wild joy and surprise in the lizard progenitor's eyes. Before this, he was worried that his cultivation would never improve after being enslaved by Qin Lai. However, after the soul beast had completely enslaved him, he suddenly realized that the soul imprints that had taken root inside his head contained many secrets of the soul. It didn't take him much studying to feel enriched by the knowledge. He felt as if his soul had ascended to a higher level. The pleasant discovery even took the lizard progenitor's mind off the fact that he was now a soul slave. It was at this moment Qin Lai's soul voice reverberated loud and clear inside his head. I belong to the soul race, one of the 4 transcendent bloodline races of the universe. The growth and cultivation of a soul race clansman are closely tied to the number and strength of their soul servants. Now that you've become a soul servant, the soul race's unique secrets of the soul shall be unlocked to you. The stronger you become, the more power you will supply me with. This feedback will help me ascend to become a rank 10 soul race expert. Right now you are the biggest branch I have in my soul tree, so I want you to focus all your effort on understanding these soul secret arts and improve your knowledge of the soul. Work hard for my sake, and I guarantee that the lizard race will become stronger and more glorious than the giant dragon race one day. Qin Lai started teaching the lizard progenitor the soul race's secret arts and the Azura race and the abyss devil's cultivation arts. He didn't try to hide anything. As a rank 10 entity, the lizard progenitor was as strong as any other rank 10 foreign experts in terms of physical power. Unfortunately for him, his knowledge of the soul was pitifully mediocre. His weak soul meant that he couldn't unleash the full might of his rank 10 bloodline, and it was why he wasn't able to overwhelm, let alone defeat Qin Lai's soul beast avatar in battle. It was all because his knowledge of the soul was lacking. But when the lizard progenitor became Qin Lai's soul slave, he got access to all of the soul race's knowledge about the soul through the rank 9 soul beast avatar and the soul tree rooted in his mind. Qin Lai could easily imprint the true secrets of the soul directly into the lizard progenitor's mind so that the latter could study them to his heart's content. The secrets of the soul were sought after not only by the races of spirit realm, but also powerful races from other realms. They all dreamed of unlocking the secrets of the soul one day. The human race used to be the weakest race in spirit realm. The reason they became its overlord in just 20,000 years' time was because they learned how to steal the bloodline of foreign experts from the blood progenitor, and because they mastered some of the soul race's secrets through the soul progenitor. The giant leap of power in both bloodline and soul was the true reason the human race had undergone such a drastic transformation. The Azura race was the same. They weren't the most powerful foreign race in the past, and they used to be much weaker than the ancient beast race and giant dragon race. But after the Azura race had become dark soul beast slaves, some of them were given access to the secrets of the soul. That was why an extremely small number of Azura race clansmen had the ability to construct soul altars. They were a strange race who came to have 2 different types of cultivation systems just like the human race. Curtis and his people especially were able to cultivate both their bloodline and their soul altars at the same time after they were enslaved by the rank 9 soul beast. That was why their combat strength exceeded expectations. The Azura race mastered 2 kinds of cultivation system, the bloodline and the soul altar, at once. That was how they became equal to the powerful foreign races such as the ancient beast race and the giant dragon race. They weren't the only ones. The dark shadow race of Nether Realm was the same. A large number of dark shadow clansmen used to be enslaved by the soul-devouring beast. However, the descendants of the dark shadow race led by Luz came to learn the secrets of the soul as a result. They too could construct their own soul altars and strengthen themselves. The reason the Azura race and the dark shadow race were able to cultivate both bloodline and soul altar was because their ancestors used to be soul slaves of the soul race. While transferring his knowledge, Qin Lai also told the lizard progenitor the true reason behind the two races' soar in power. After combining both his own impression of the Azura race and the Dark Shadow race and Qin Lai's words, the lizard progenitor slowly believed that Qin Lai was telling the truth. The lizard progenitor's spirit was suddenly lifted. Whoosh! The soul beast exhaled deeply before opening his eyes. He shot the pleasantly surprised lizard progenitor a deep look before taking on a human form. The lizard progenitor also started transforming into a human after seeing this. It didn't take long for Qin Lai's soul beast avatar to assume his true self's appearance. The lizard progenitor had also transformed into a wizened old man. Your enslavement is actually a great boon to the entire lizard race. By becoming my soul servant, you've given everyone in your race a chance to study the secrets of the soul just like the Azura race and Dark Shadow race. Given enough time, they'll be able to construct their own soul altars even as they evolve their bloodline to the next level. As long as you serve me loyally, I guarantee that the lizard race will become one of the most powerful races in Spirit Realm once I reach rank 10. At the very least, I promise you that you'll be able to fight the giant dragon race on equal grounds. That is not all. When I step beyond Spirit Realm and enter the galaxy outside, the lizard race will receive their second shot at evolution. Qin Lai kept feeding illusions to the lizard progenitor like a charlatan. Surprisingly, the lizard progenitor wasn't just paying close attention to Qin Lai's words. He actually believed every word as well. From the knowledge Qin Lai had imparted him, he came to realize that the soul race was so powerful that the 100 races of Spirit Realm looked like uncultured barbarians in comparison. The galaxy was endless, and there were billions of worlds out there. However, there were only 4 transcendent bloodline races. The soul race wasn't just the most powerful race out of the 4 transcendent bloodline races. They were known as the most knowledgeable when it came to the soul as well. The lizard progenitor and his people's future was now infinite because he became the sole servant of the most powerful race. Suddenly, the lizard progenitor thought that his enslavement wasn't really a tragedy, but a boon. The entire lizard race will benefit greatly from my enslavement, he thought to himself. Unfortunately for him, he didn't know that Qin Lai wasn't acknowledged by the soul race and thus not a true soul race clansman. He didn't know that Qin Lai, at least for now, was just dangling a carrot stick in front of him. Young master, the day of the war is getting closer. We have to go. Qianlin chose this moment to speak up. Qin Lai knew everything that was happening outside thanks to the connection between his true self and his avatar. He nodded and said, "Don't worry about me. I will be bringing the lizard progenitor to Baluo realm. I heard that we've had some guests recently." Suddenly, a thought entered Qianlin's mind. "Young master, you saved a group of ancient beast clansmen that had been sealed in ice by the Ice Emperor back at the Scarlet Tide continent, right?" Qin Lai thought for a moment before nodding. "That is correct. Was there a beast named Mang Wang among them?" Qianlin asked again. Qin Lai answered, "There was. In that case, can you please visit the ancient beast race and seek out that Mang Wang when you're free?" Qianlin hesitated for a moment before explaining. "Right now, the chiefs of the ancient beast race haven't decided whether they want to join hands with the 6 great forces. The ancient beast race is quite a powerful race in Spirit Realm, and unfortunately the Qin family doesn't have much dealings with them. So, I understand." Qin Lai came to realization and replied, "I know what to do." Qianlin smiled and left with Dan Yuanqing just like that. They soon left the lizard realm completely. The ancient beast race. Qin Lai muttered to himself. Baluo realm. It was night. A cold, round moon hung high in the sky like a silver disk. At 7 Spirits Islands, a star door suddenly appeared behind Zhuangjing. The portal looked glittery under the moon. Beams of light passed through the star door before transforming into Void Realm Azura race experts. Each of them radiated murderous auras. Zhuangjing and Lin Jie were conversing with each other when the Azura race experts suddenly made their appearance. They fell silent and stared blankly at the group led by Curtis before Ji Yuan and Vanessa flew out of the portal as well. Qin Lai was the last person to step through the star door. He then withdrew his bloodline power and cancelled the portal. "Master, Island Master Qin, Both Zhuang Jing and Lin Jie bowed and made their greetings respectfully towards Qin Lai. Qin Lai nodded at them before looking at Ji Yuan. Are you planning to return to the Ji family immediately? Stay in Baluo Realm? Or visit the Frost Desolation Abyss? I would like to stay in Baluo Realm for now, Ji Yuan said. That's not a problem. Please enjoy yourself. I won't be accompanying you. Qin Lai smiled at her before instructing Vanessa. Follow me. The rank 9C race woman who just absorbed all of her stepmother's bloodline, soul power and vitality, looked downright gorgeous under the illumination of the silver moonlight. Every subconscious smile and gesture she made looked incredibly graceful and flirtatious. Vanessa examined the unfamiliar realm around her, staring at the first moon on the sky with a faint smile on her face. Okay. Qin Lai soon led the group to the Whitebone Nether Spirit Altar. The demon dragon Barrett and the sea race clansman Haley were both waiting for him at the floating island. They immediately walked towards Qin Lai when they saw him. Qin Lai, both my brothers are at my race's domain. They wish to meet you in person, Barrett said loudly. Barrett's father was the old chief of the demon dragon race, Abrit. Barrett's older brothers were rank 10 demon dragons, and they both ruled over a realm of their own. After Barrett had learned that his father was trapped in Dark Shadow World, he contacted both his older brothers through a secret art. The two rank 10 demon dragons immediately headed for Baluo Realm after resolving all the matters in the surrounding realms. That day, Barrett's brothers had finally arrived at Baluo Realm. They both wanted to meet Qin Lai. The news that the 6 great forces of the human race were uniting the foreign races of other realms to take down the Qin family had spread throughout the realms a long time ago. The demon dragon race was one of the strongest branch of the dragon race, and their overall power was only slightly behind the giant dragon races. The two rank 10 demon dragons had wondered if they should travel to Ninth Heaven after they received the invitation from the 6 great forces. Of course, they had already communicated with the Qin family a while ago due to Barrett and Qin Lai's friendship. Naturally, they were inclined to maintain a good relationship with the Qin family. Qin Lai was most likely going to become the successor of the Qin family. However, they wished to see Qin Lai with their own eyes and confirm that he truly had the ability to bear the Qin family's banner. That was why they insisted on meeting Qin Lai before the war could happen. It was so that they could dispel the final doubts in their minds. I'll be with you in a moment, Qin Lai assured Barrett before looking at Haley. The reason I told you to come to Baluo Realm through Miao Fengtian is because I want you to meet her. He pointed a finger at Vanessa. In fact, Haley had been staring at Vanessa strangely since the latter had come through the portal. Her expression seemed to suggest that she was guessing at something. Vanessa was a little curious about Haley as well. The longer Haley stared, the more confused she became, and in the end she couldn't stop herself from asking, "Why are you looking at me like that? You look like someone I know." Haley said directly, "You look like our previous chief." Vanessa trembled before asking, "Do you know Anya?" Haley's expression immediately turned into disdain and disgust. "You know that loose woman?" Vanessa inhaled deeply before explaining. "Anya and her man had stolen me away from their enemy not long after I was born. Then, they raised me until I was a grown woman." Haley and Vanessa had communicated using the human race's common language at the beginning. However, they soon switched to the ancient language of the sea race. It was only a few lines of explanation, but Haley's expression had changed completely at the end of it. She made a serious request. "I would like to talk to her alone." Qin Lai nodded. "Please do as you wish." "Thank you." Haley sucked in a deep breath before shooting a somewhat respectful glance at Vanessa. "Let us talk at the sea where the sea race lives." Vanessa looked a little excited. She seemed to know that Haley could unveil the mystery behind her identity. She immediately followed Haley to the sea where the sea race of Baluo Realm lived. They quickly vanished from the ancient beast race's domain. Qin Lai instructed Curtis and his Azura race clansmen to stay at Baluo Realm for the time being. Then, he followed Barrett to the demon dragon race's domain. It didn't take long for him to fly out of the ancient beast race's domain either. It was at this moment Qin Lai trembled. The soul beast avatar had transmitted Qin Lin's wish and a couple more things to him. The ancient beast race Mang Wang, he muttered to himself. He subconsciously produced the snake-headed staff from his spatial ring and gave it a rub, thinking. The ancient beast race had always been the strongest foreign race in spirit realm. They had never declined, and they were always known as a powerful foreign race. Although the human race was at the top right now, the gold rank forces seldom operated in the ancient beast race's territory. It was because of the ancient beast race's fame. For the same reason, the six great forces tried very hard to obtain the ancient beast race's aid in fighting against the Qin family. Unfortunately for them, the ancient beast race hadn't made their stance clear up to this point. The only thing they promised was to visit ninth heaven the day of the conference. As for whom they would stand for and what they would do, neither the six great forces nor the Qin family had any idea. According to Chen Lin, the Qin family and the ancient beast race shared no relationship. They couldn't find a suitable opportunity to communicate with the ancient beast race either. However, Qin Lai had rescued some ancient beasts who had been frozen solid by the Ice Emperor from Arctic mountain range. They should have all returned to the ancient beast race by now. Chen Lin viewed this as an important opportunity. Mang Wang did promise that he would help me if I was in trouble back then. But this matter concerns the entire ancient beast race. I'm not sure if he can really help me on this, he thought to himself before staring at the snake-headed staff. Then his eyes lit up a little. Well, at least Mang Wang isn't my only leverage. I can also try negotiating with this heavenly blue snake king. Demon Dragon Valley. 2,000-meter long, dark-skinned demon dragons were lying lazily on the ground as rich flesh and blood energy poured off their bodies like erupting volcanoes. The terrible energy was so strong that Qin Lai felt it on his face even though he was still tens of thousands of meters away from them. Barrett's here. One of the demon dragons let out a low growl before his body started undergoing a transformation. A dozen or so seconds later, he had transformed into a gigantic human who was even fatter and more obese than Barrett was. The other demon dragon didn't hesitate as well. He too transformed into a huge fatty. Their names were Scott and Mitchell. They were Barrett's blood-related older brothers, and they were rulers of their respective realms. Both demon dragons were at rank 10 bloodline. After their father, a Brit, had been trapped in the dark shadow world, they led their respective clans and fought against the giant dragon race. They both wanted to return to the dragon realm, chase away the giant dragon race, and restore the demon dragon race's former glory. The dragon race had many branches, but the giant dragon race, demon dragon race, and evil dragon race had always been known as the strongest three. A long time ago, the demon dragon race chief Abrit had joined forces with the evil dragon race to fight for control over the graveyard of the first dragon. In the end, Abrit suffered a massive injury and had to tell his sons to escape to the outer realm with their people. He himself had vanished without a trace. The god race returned from the outer realm soon after, and the evil dragon race chose to serve the Blaze family of the god race. Thanks to this decision, the evil dragon race enjoyed a prosperous period of 10,000 years and ruled over the dragon realm. Unfortunately, no good thing lasts forever. The evil dragons quickly declined after the god race had been chased away from spirit realm by the 100 races. Most evil dragon race experts had left spirit realm alongside the god race, leaving behind only a small number of low-rank evil dragons who had no choice but to hide underground. The giant dragon race seized the opportunity to seize the dragon realm from their hands and began their oppression of all other dragons. The demon dragon race had rested in the outer realms for 30,000 years after the terrible blow. They never showed their faces even when the god race had invaded spirit realm. It took them all that time to restore their strength. They only truly began their recovery after Scott and Mitchell had reached rank 10. For the past couple thousand years or so, the demon dragon race had started competing against the giant dragon race again. They were growing active among the stars outside spirit realm once more. Soon, a new war was about to erupt in spirit realm. The giant dragon race had chosen to join forces with the six great forces and eliminate the Qin family before the god race ultimately invaded their realm. The demon dragon race had always been at odds with the giant dragon race. Thanks to Qin Lai's friendship with Barrett, they planned to support the Qin family in this war. However, the demon dragon race as a whole was somewhat undecided if this was the right time to tear down all pretenses and engage the giant dragon race in an all-out war. Besides seeing their younger brother Barrett, the main reason Scott and Mitchell came to Boluo Realm was to get to know the third-generation patriarch of the Qin family, Qin Lai. They also wished to know if the Qin family was powerful enough to fight the 6 great human forces through Qin Lai. First brother. Second brother. I've brought who you're looking for. Barrett yelled loudly before descending on the Demon Dragon Valley in an instant. This is my first brother Scott and my second brother Mitchell. They're both rank 10 demon dragons. He introduced his brothers to Qin Lai proudly. Well met, seniors. Qin Lai saluted them with a smile. Both of Barrett's older brothers were currently in human form, and they were even bigger than Barrett was. To put it bluntly, they were fat, tall and dark-skinned to the point where Qin Lai initially thought they were 2 dark meatballs at first glance. He thought Barrett's form was strange enough already, but his brothers successfully stunned him a second time. Did you ask around like I requested earlier? Suddenly, a new person walked out of a cave. On the surface, he looked like an average old man. But Qin Lai immediately recognized that he was the rank 9 evil dragon Calvert. His appearance made Qin Lai realize that Calvert must have returned from the Frost Desolation Abyss after hearing that Barrett's brothers were returning. The evil dragon race and demon dragon race had always had a good relationship with each other. Age-wise, Calvert, Scott, and Mitchell were born in the same age, so they probably knew each other well. You wish to know where your clansmen went to after they left Spirit Realm, right? Qin Lai said. Calvert nodded with a downcast look. A long time ago, the evil dragon race was one of the strongest trio of the dragon race. But today, brother, you and your kin are still alive, aren't they? Even if your clansmen never made it back to Spirit Realm, the evil dragon race won't die out because you exist. So there's no need to think too pessimistically. Scott consoled Calvert in a thunderous voice. One day, when we've chased the giant dragon race out of the dragon realm, you'll be able to procreate with other dragons and restore the evil dragon race's former glory in 10,000 years or so. The evil dragon Calvert smiled bitterly before replying, "Be that as it may, I still want an answer." Naturally. Scott nodded slowly before looking at Qin Lai. Barrett told me that you've come into contact with other transcendent bloodline races. In that case, do you know where the evil dragons that left with the Blaze family are living at right now? They're not with the Blaze family right now, Qin Lai said. Surprised, Calvert asked, "Then where are they?" "I don't know either." Qin Lai frowned in full seriousness. 20,000 years ago, the god race's former patriarch had taken a group of evil dragons with him to secure their retreat before they escaped Spirit Realm. After that, the patriarch, the god race experts, and the evil dragons who served him went missing altogether. The 3 dragons looked a little shocked by the secret news he had revealed to them. I heard that the 3 emperors of the human race had also participated in that battle, and even they disappeared after that. No one knows where they are now. This is what I deduced after questioning the Blaze family members. Qin Lai shot Calvert a glance and hesitated for a moment before saying, "I don't know if my info is 100% correct, but I do know that the evil dragon race has nothing to do with the current Blaze family. The only person they're loyal to is the Blaze family's former patriarch, but that person had vanished with them." "I understand." Calvert lowered his head with a thoughtful look. He didn't ask any further. "Now, what do you wish to know?" Qin Lai asked the brothers. "What makes you think that the Qin family is capable of fighting against the 6 great forces?" Scott went straight to the point. "I know that Skymender Palace and the G family had secretly joined forces with the Qin family, but the giant dragon race, Azura race, and Sea race had declared their intention to act against the Qin family too. On the surface, it seems like your side is far weaker than theirs." Scott paused for a moment before continuing. "I'll be honest with you. We're willing to make a gamble on you if you're just a bit weaker compared to the 6 great forces. However, if your side is so weak that there's no chance of victory even if we join hands with you, then we have no intention of throwing our lives away for nothing." Qin Lai looked troubled by Scott's questioning. "To be honest, I have no idea where the Qin family currently stands on the totem pole because I haven't been in contact with them for long. In fact, I've only learned recently that my father has just completed the 9th level of his soul altar. Qin Lai spread his arms and smiled helplessly. That is all I know. Qin Hao has completed the 9th level of his soul altar? To Qin Lai's surprise, Scott shuddered until his fat was shaking all over before yelling, "Are you sure?" Qin Lai nodded. That is all I know. Xianxia inhaled deeply before saying seriously, "Then that is enough." Barrett's second brother, Mitchell, also inhaled once before saying in a firm tone, "If what you say is true, then there is literally no one among the 100 races, rank 10 bloodline or in the Genesis realm, who can beat your father in a one-on-one battle barring no surprises." "You mean to say he's invincible?" Qin Lai exclaimed in disbelief. Scott narrowed his eyes and nodded without any hesitation. "Yes, he is indeed invincible." Qin Lai was the second soul in this body, so he only knew what happened after he had awakened from his slumber. In fact, his very first memory had started at Ling Town. Therefore, he wasn't sure how the Qin family was doing now and before. He didn't understand why Scott and Mitchell reacted the way they did after they heard that his father, Qin Hao, had completed the 9th level of his soul altar. It was because he, the second soul, had never met Qin Hao before. He muttered thoughtfully with astonishment, "Invincible among the 100 races. It looks like you don't know your own father too well." Scott clearly looked surprised by his ignorance. He explained, "The demon dragon race hadn't visited spirit realm for a long time, choosing to live in the depths of the galaxy. But even we have heard of your father's fame. It is because your father is known as peerless, since the moment we heard of him." "Peerless?" Qin Lai looked surprised. "It is said that your father has been invincible among his peers since the day he started cultivating the martial way." Barrett's second brother, Mitchell, said with spontaneous respect. "When he was in the natal opening realm, no one in the natal opening realm could beat him in a one-on-one battle. It was the same when he ascended to the manifestation realm, the nether passage realm, all the way up to the nirvana realm. When the first level of his soul altar was complete, he immediately became the strongest martial practitioner among all one-level soul altar experts. It stayed like that even after he broke through to the void realm and the Genesis realm. There's just no one that can match him at his level. In fact, he often challenged experts beyond his level and won against them. From what we know, the only reason his soul altar was destroyed 300 years ago was because all of his opponents were peak 9-level soul altar experts. Mind you, he wasn't fighting one, but many 9-level soul altar experts," Mitchell said in awe and respect. The 6 great human forces had to gather several peak Genesis realm experts to destroy his soul altar, but they still failed to stop him from protecting his soul altar pieces and running away from their clutches. Mitchell sighed in admiration. "Remember, he only had an 8-level soul altar back then." Scott took over the conversation. "After that battle 300 years ago, all outer realm foreigners who knew the truth were certain that your father would become the strongest expert to have ever existed in spirit realm if he completes his soul altar. However, most people, including us, thought that it would take him at least a couple thousand years to rebuild it and break through. No one could have predicted that he could reforge his crushed soul altar in just 300 years, let alone complete the 9th level of his soul altar. No wonder your father dares to visit 9th heaven." Scott and Mitchell suddenly looked a lot calmer after they heard that Qin Hao had constructed the 9th level of his soul altar. Their hesitation from earlier was long gone. Both of them had decided to communicate their intention to join forces with the Qin family as soon as possible. "Peerless?" Qin Lai took the time to calm himself down a little. From Scott and Mitchell's description and their awe and respect towards his father, he was gradually realizing just how bright and terrifying an existence his father was among the humans of Central World and even the foreign races of the outer realms. Qin Lai is Qin Hao's son. Hell, he might even one-up his father. Barrett snorted. It seemed that he was somewhat dissatisfied with his brother's reverence of Qin Hao, boasting, "If there's one thing I know about Qin Lai, it's that he'll definitely surpass Qin Hao and bring the Qin family to greater heights." "Oh," Scott chuckled. He finally shot Qianlai a serious look, examining him from head to toe. He clearly thought that Barrett had exaggerated his claims. Mitchell also chuckled. He doesn't need to surpass Qianhao. He only needs to be unrivaled among his peers. If that is the case, then I'm certain that the Qin family can unite the disjointed humans and become the true ruler of the human race. I think he can surpass Qianhao as well, Calvert suddenly said indifferently. Both Scott and Mitchell were surprised by this interruption. Their eyes grew more and more curious. They were aware that Barrett wasn't always dependable, and that he had the tendency to exaggerate things or spout nonsense. But Calvert wasn't like their younger brother. He wasn't careless with his words, and he definitely wasn't the type to hold a person in high esteem for no particular reason. Curious, the two demon dragons started applying some bloodline energy and soul pressure onto Qianlai. Qianlai shuddered under their gaze, and his eyes and hair instantly turned as scarlet as blood. The flesh and blood energy that gushed out of his body smelled a lot like blood. His eyes sparkled with sparks and blue lightning, and his blood ran like a boiling river. To Qianlai, Scott and Mitchell had vanished from view. Instead, they had become a tsunami of qi and blood that looked like they would never stop battering him. Again and again, the waves of energy crashed towards him, and he had no choice but to endure them like a tiny boat barely surviving under a ferocious storm. He felt like his boat and him could break apart at any moment. But that wasn't all. The two demon dragons had somehow managed to enter his head and caused havoc in there as well. It was as if they were trying to tear apart his soul altar and his very soul into tiny pieces. Both Scott and Mitchell were rank 10 demon dragons. They were as strong as the human race's Genesis realm experts or peak foreign experts. They could sit there and do nothing but unleash their flesh and blood energy and their soul energy, and still give Qianlai, an early-stage imperishable realm practitioner, a run for his money. Qianlai had no choice but to activate all of his bloodline power. Provoked by the two demon dragons, the many powers hidden inside his blood started erupting like volcanoes. His body became surrounded by imperishable flames, and golden armor started covering his skin. There were also dark blue halos circling around him like orbiting meteors. His god race, abyss devil race, and eight-eyed demon spirit bloodlines worked together with his heavenly thunder eradication, frost arts, and blood spirit art to resist the demon dragon's blood energy. His mysterious bloodline powers and spirit arts worked together to weaken the demon dragon's chi waves again and again. Even the two soul shadows that were causing havoc inside his head had to leave in a hurry when his one-level soul altar suddenly erupted into a storm of thunder. Both demon dragons seemed to be afraid of the wild thunder blasting out of Qianlai's soul altar. "All right, we're done." Scott suddenly let out a dry laugh. Both Mitchell and him withdrew their soul energy and bloodline aura at the same time. Qianlai was still covered in flames even though they were done testing him. His face was blurred by the mixture of powers, and tongues of flames seemed to be pouring out of his eyes. "So, how is he?" Barrett yelled. Both Scott and Mitchell seemed absolutely surprised by the result. The duo exchanged a glance and seemed to recognize the hidden shock in each other's eyes. "He really is as good as his father," Scott gave a reserved remark before turning to Barrett. "We'll inform the Qin family of our intentions and declare our stance in a moment. We'll also visit Ninth Heaven and see how the six great forces, the Giant Dragon race, the Sea race, and the Azura race plan to deal with Qianhao. If necessary, we'll participate in the battle as well," Mitchell declared. Qianlai left the Demon Dragon Valley after Scott and Mitchell confirmed that they would support the Qin family. After leaving, the three Demon Dragon brothers and the evil dragon Calvert were the only ones left. The rest of the demon dragons were battling the abyss devils in the Frost Desolation Abyss to increase their bloodline power. "First brother, second brother, you just tested Qianlai's strength. What do you think?" Barrett asked. Calvert was also looking at the two demon dragons. Scott and Mitchell were silent for a very long time after Qianlai had left the valley. They were in deep thought until Barrett's question shook them out of their reverie. Scott's eyes sparkled in a strange way as he nodded slightly. "You were right. Every generation of the Qin family is stronger than the last, and this third generation in particular may very well bring the Qin family to a whole new height. Calvert trembled when he heard this. Old friend, are you saying that, a long time ago, the old patriarch Qin Shan had made the Qin family the richest family in spirit realm among humans? He won over many skilled artificers and built the foundation at which the Qin family's glory stands on. The second generation of the Qin family, Qin Hao, had no interest in artifact forging. However, he channeled all of his energy into researching the martial way and became the strongest martial way genius the human race has ever seen for the past couple thousand years. He was the one who made the Qin family such a powerful gold rank force that it dwarfed all 6 great factions, or rather he would have if not for the incident 300 years ago. As for Qin Lai, Scott chose his words carefully for a moment before continuing. He may lead the Qin family beyond the scope that is spirit realm. In the future, when he reaches the Genesis realm and rank 10 bloodline, he may succeed where we failed and lead the Qin family all the way to the galaxy beyond. Barrett was stunned by his brother's declaration. Are you serious? Barrett believed that Qin Lai had infinite potential, but he never thought that his brother Scott would think this highly of Qin Lai. His assessment surprised him greatly, to say the least. His second brother, Mitchell, chose this moment to interject. If Qin Lai really does succeed in reaching the Genesis realm and rank 10 bloodline, it's definitely possible for the Qin family to become a great power, who causes billions in the galaxy to tremble just like the God race, the Spirit race, or the Abyss Devils. Both Calvert and Barrett couldn't quite believe that the 2 demon dragon brothers were so in sync on this matter. They were very confused. First brother, second brother, can you 2 cut to the chase already? Why do you believe that Qin Lai is capable of such feats? Barrett complained impatiently. Scott and Mitchell exchanged a glance with each other before Mitchell spoke up. Qin Lai's bloodline is absolutely extraordinary, and the 1-level soul altar in his mind is something neither of us have ever seen before. I don't know why, but I feel like I'm staring at a whole new world when I look inside his soul altar. A soul altar is like a world, but it takes a peak Genesis realm expert to actually transform it into a whole new realm. Qin Lai's soul altar is only at the 1st level, so you can understand why we're this shocked. In fact, we cannot even ascertain the entirety of his true strength. Mitchell added, there is one thing we are sure of, however. His father, Qin Hao, probably wasn't as strong as Qin Lai was when he first created his soul altar. Scott completed the sentence. In other words, he has already surpassed his father during his early days. Both Barrett and Calvert were stunned beyond words after listening to the Demon Dragon brothers' explanations. Their image of Qin Lai had been repainted in a completely new light. At the ancient beast race's grounds, a group of people could be seen waiting at the cave entrance where the realm entrance lies. Ji Yao, Ji Yuan, Gon Faping, Miao Yitzi, Tang Yuan, Nivet and more were all present. They seemed to be waiting for someone. A moment later, a bolt of lightning flashed beneath the moon and landed at the cave entrance. Swoosh! The lightning transformed into Qin Lai, who gave them a smile before saying, Barrett and his brothers have confirmed their intention to support us during the upcoming war. They also agreed to fight the giant dragon race for us if Ninth Heaven were to engage us in battle on the day of the meeting. Wonderful! Jiao laughed loudly. Scott and Mitchell are definitely strong enough to take on the chief of the giant dragon race if they work together. After all, the demon dragon race is only second to the giant dragon race. Not to mention that they've never truly lost to the giant dragon race in the past couple thousand years. The demon dragon race's participation will definitely lessen the pressure we take from the giant dragon race. Ji Yuan agreed. The rest of the group wore joyful looks as well. The demon dragon race's support had definitely made them more confident about the upcoming battle. I heard from Miss Miao that you're planning to visit the ancient beast realm. Is that true? Teng Yuan asked suddenly. After Chun Lin had obtained Qin Lai's promise through his soul beast avatar, he informed Miao Yitzi of his decision via their unique communication channel. Miao Yitzi was a 6-level soul altar expert who was well-versed in the secret arts of space. The main reason she came to Baluo realm after obtaining the ancient beast realm's spatial coordinates from Chen Lin was to prepare this realm entrance for Qin Lai's departure. Teng Yuan? Nivit and the others had invited themselves over after they heard that Qianlai was heading to the ancient beast realm. That was why they had been all gathered there even before Qianlai showed up. The ancient beast race's stance is unclear as of now, and I happen to have some relations with the ancient beast race. That is why I wish to visit them and see if I can convince the seniors there to help us, Qianlai said honestly. I don't know why you left the ancient beast realm, and I don't know what's the current relationship between you and the ancient beast clansmen over there. That was why I didn't want to trouble you all with this. Tang Yuan, Nivit, and Tong Yuan were all ancient beast clansmen, but they had stayed in Boluo realm for at least tens of thousands of years. From an outsider's point of view, they seemed to have cut all ties with the ancient beast realm. Qianlai knew that they had left the ancient beast realm for a reason, and he didn't want to disturb them with his request. That was why he hadn't informed anyone through Curtis about his upcoming journey. He didn't expect Tang Yuan and the others to show up themselves after learning that he was traveling to the ancient beast realm through Miao Yitzi though. Their reaction wasn't what he had expected. You were mistaken about one thing. We haven't migrated over from ancient beast realm. Spirit realm is our home since the beginning. Tang Yuan smiled as he explained, 30,000 years ago, when the god race came invading, most foreign experts of spirit realm came to realize that they were no match for the god race. That is why most of them had escaped to the outer realms. That was why Nivit, Tong Yuan, I and the Banderas left spirit realm and came to Boluo realm. At the beginning, there were no such thing as an ancient beast realm at all. After we were forced out of our homes by the god race, we escaped into space and found new worlds suitable for our race. Naturally, the new realm with the most ancient beast clansmen came to be known as the ancient beast realm. Boluo realm and the ancient beast realm are too far apart, and we're used to living here without having to follow orders. That's why we haven't communicated with our clansmen at ancient beast realm. It's all because we simply don't want to live in ancient beast realm. In short, we hold no grudge towards our clansmen at ancient beast realm, explained Tang Yuan. I see now. Qianlai nodded. In that case, can you accompany me to ancient beast realm if you're free? Worst comes to worst, they won't attack me out of malice with the two of you with me. Haha. Did you forget that you saved a lot of ancient beast clansmen back then? Mang Wang was among those you saved, wasn't he? In that case, there's no way they'll treat you badly. Is Mang Wang very important in the ancient beast realm? Qianlai asked in surprise. You'll know once you get there, Tang Yuan said. Okay. And so, Qianlai requested Miao Yitzi to open the portal, and him, Tang Yuan and Nivit traveled together to the mysterious ancient beast realm. There were tall mountains that peeked through gray clouds and forests in the middle of mountain ranges at the ancient beast realm. It was at the peak of a couple thousand meters tall mountain that a realm entrance had been constructed with precious wood and rare crystals. Several dozen beasts of various sizes were crouching lazily beside the realm entrance, cultivating or dozing off as they pleased. Swoosh, swoosh. Suddenly, 3 beams of light, azure, bright yellow and dark blue, flew out of the realm entrance. Outsiders are visiting us again. A giant python covered in black and white patterns and about 50 meters long immediately woke up and moved towards the realm entrance the moment it showed signs of activation. The rest of the foreign beasts were staring at the realm entrance curiously as well, moving their bodies and muttering to themselves. Strange, we haven't had a single foreign visitor for the past 10 years or so, but recently they just wouldn't stop coming. The group earlier called themselves humans from the 6 great gold rank forces. They brought a dazzling lineup of world spirit materials and claimed that they were going to gift it to our beast king. After that, the Azura race and the Sea race showed up with a request to meet with our chief. They too brought a lot of gifts with them. Even the dragon race had sent over an emissary. Maybe it's because the god race is about to invade spirit realm, and they wish to borrow our strength. That is why they came from all over the world. That has to be the case. The foreign beasts gossiped among themselves as they moved closer to the realm entrance. They were all surprised by the amount of foreign visitors they had as of late. The ancient beast realm was a sizable distance away from spirit realm. The human race didn't invade them even during their peak because they were too far away, and the ancient beast race was too strong. The ancient beast race, the dragon race, and the giant race had always been known as the strongest races in spirit realm. Maybe it was because of their fame, but the human race, the dragon race, the giant race, the Azura race, and other strong races seldom operated near the ancient beast race. Moreover, the ancient beast clansmen who lived there were pretty lazy, so much so that they rarely ever left the ancient beast realm. It was why the ancient beast realm remained a peaceful and tranquil place for at least several thousand years. Lately, the ancient beast realm was suddenly visited by many people from great races. Everyone's curiosity was piqued. They wondered to themselves, what really happened outside to drive so many races to visit the ancient beast realm? We're here. Qianlai, Tung Yuan and Nivit walked out of the ancient beast realm's realm entrance amidst a shower of light. The gathering ancient beast clansmen couldn't stop themselves from letting out a low growl when they saw Tung Yuan and Nivit. Although Tung Yuan and Nivit were in human form right now, they couldn't hide their scent from the ancient beast clansmen of this place. It was why they were surprised. They didn't expect to smell a kin. Roar! Tung Yuan and Nivit immediately let out a roar and transformed right before their kin's confused eyes. Tung Yuan transformed into a giant golden ape with lush mane, and Nivit transformed into a silver-streak heavenly snake under a cacophony of thunder. It's a senior of our race. The ancient beast clansmen immediately changed their attitudes and looked at Tung Yuan and Nivit respectfully the second they revealed their true forms. Qianlai walked out of the realm entrance and stood at the peak, taking in the world around him. It was mountain ranges and forests wherever he looked. He couldn't find a single city or any traces of civilization at all. Giant ancient beasts occasionally trekked past incredibly tall mountains or vast forests. There were 1,000-meter-long giant snakes like Nivit, and there were mountain-sized giant apes like Tung Yuan in this world. There were also giant golden armor lions with powerful reverberating roars, giant eagles that ruled the skies, giant crocodiles coiling and twisting in wide rivers, and humongous 30 meters long spiders. Every ancient beast in this realm was operating in their true form. They didn't transform into humans just because there were foreign visitors. Qianlai knew that no real ancient beast clansman would like to be restricted. None of them actually liked transforming into a human. Outside, they took on human forms because they were putting up with other races and it was easier to communicate. But such measures were unnecessary in the ancient beast realm. That was why they were all in their true forms. Standing at the peak of the 1,000 meters tall mountains were giants, their roars resounding in every corner of the world. For a moment, he felt as if he had traveled back in time. A long, long time ago, these gigantic creatures were the rulers of the earth and skies of spirit realm. At the time, the giant dragon race, giant race, and ancient beast race were still addressed uniformly as the giant spirit race. The giant spirit race was the true ruler of spirit realm at the very beginning. At the time, the human race, the Azura race, the sea race, the wood race, and other small races were always hiding themselves from these terrifying beings at the top of the food chain, fearing every day that they would become the food of a giant spirit clansman. However, the sea race, wood race, and Azura race started displaying outstanding intelligence by learning the arts of cultivation. It was how they eventually established a foothold in spirit realm. Later on, the god race invaded spirit realm in unstoppable fashion and forced many races to escape into the outer realms. The giant spirit race's era ended there and the human race eventually learned the secrets of the bloodline and the soul from the blood progenitor and soul progenitor, and learned how to absorb world spirit energy into bodies by cultivation. After that, they learned how to forge soul altars. As a result, they grew stronger and stronger. In the end, the human race became the new ruler of spirit realm. Currently, the vast world that was spirit realm was completely transformed into a haven for the human race, and the powerful races that used to dominate spirit realm were forced to make new homes in the outer realms instead. The scene where the giant spirit race ruled over spirit realm during the ancient times were long gone. The human race's absolutely terrifying reproductive capabilities caused every land in spirit realm to be covered in human palaces and houses. Every corner of spirit realm was marked with traces of human activity. That was why an utterly untamed land like the ancient beast realm, a land that was unblemished by any human structure, was something that only existed in a dream. I suppose that only a world that is completely void of humans could maintain such purity. What an amazing sight! he thought to himself. We came to Baluo realm today because we wish to meet the chief. Can you please arrange things for us, my brothers? While Qinlai was busy enjoying the sights, Nivet was voicing his request to a thin python who was only a couple dozen meters long. The python looked at Nivet respectfully and replied in the ancient beast language. The chief is currently dealing with the emissaries of the human race, the sea race and the Azura race, so he may not be free right now. But I can inform him of your arrival. Someone came before us? Nivet was caught off guard. The python nodded before replying, Amen. The humans call themselves the emissaries of spirit realm's 6 great gold rank forces. The sea race and the Azura race claims to have come here under orders from their respective chiefs. Tung Yuan's expression changed slightly as he spoke to Qinlai in a thunderous voice. Things don't look too good, boy. Qinlai frowned and hesitated for a moment. Is Mang Wang here too? Do you know Lord Mang Wang? The python asked curiously. If you can contact Mang Wang, please tell him that Qinlai of Scarlet Tide Continent is here. You're from Spirit Realm's Scarlet Tide Continent? Emin? I'll contact Lord Mang Wang right away. Suddenly, the giant python turned incredibly respectful. It was also looking at Qinlai with a meaningful look. The giant pythons? Qinlai thought to himself while narrowing his eyes slightly. He was aware that Mang Wang was a giant python whose bloodline ability was the same as his spirit energy, thunder and lightning. In his opinion, the giant python in front of him was probably of the same race as Mang Wang. The reason he thought this was because he could sense the power of thunder in the giant python. Moreover, it looked almost exactly the same as Mang Wang back then. Old Tang, could it be that Mang Wang Sr. is the ancient beast race's chief? He suddenly threw the curious question at Tung Yuan. No, Tung Yuan grinned and chuckled strangely. He's not the chief of the ancient beast race. However, Mang Wang's father is currently the strongest expert in the ancient beast race. Qinlai looked astonished. I thought that the ancient beast race valued strength above else, so why isn't he the chief? Tung Yuan shook his head. Mang Wang's father isn't the chief right now, but barring any surprises, Mang Wang should become the ancient beast race's next chief.